Alright, that's better. I stretched. Bumble Homestead, thanks for 100 bits, says we got a milk frother and for fancy coffee drinks, and now that the cats line up for tribute whenever I use it. Cutie cats. Alright, let's just jump into it. I don't have a ton of... I was doing voice stretches. I was doing voice warm-ups, which I didn't do before, which is why my voice came in so not good. Anyway, what's going on with those PP guys? We'll cover it coming up here. Tuesday, I think, is the next court hearing for the Bed Bath & Beyond thing. So I imagine either Tuesday evening or Wednesday we will cover Bed Bath & Beyond stuff again. I've been covering it a lot, though, and well, I enjoy it, and I know a lot of people do. I also like being able to cover a lot of stuff. I don't want to get too pigeonholed in one thing. So I know I had like quite a few Bed Bath & Beyond stock conspiracy streams recently. Probably gonna wind down on those a little bit. Pull back, I should say. Still gonna cover it because I still find it very interesting, but probably gonna cover it less often, but when important things happen. Like Tuesday, it's possible that they're gonna file their final liquidation plan with the court, which I said this to Baja, too. I was like, at this point, I can't even say that I think the conspiracy theorists involved in this stock, like, cheating on us on YouTube. Yes, on Thursdays, I'm streaming on YouTube, by the way. That's where I was yesterday. So if you missed yesterday, I was streaming on YouTube. You can find the VOD. It's over there. What was I saying? Shit, I don't know if my ADHD meds kicked in yet. I just took them like 20 minutes ago. I'll blame it on my meds instead of just my brain whole cloth. Anyway, like I was saying, maybe a month ago I would have said there's no way that once they file their final liquidation plan with the court, that PP Seeds and the other Bed Bath & Beyond conspiracy theorists, there's no way they can move the goalposts after that. But that's obviously not true. They can move the goalposts wherever they want. That's kind of how delusion works. So it'll be interesting to see what happens moving forward. But again, I'm talking about the stock thing again, and it's not even a stock stream, so I'll try and behave. Try and stay on topic of chuds. Fennikagami says, it's almost like MAGA people have no idea what grooming is. So weird. It also makes, like, they only care about the idea of children and not actual children. To them, grooming is teaching a child anything they don't want them to learn. It has nothing to do... It's not even really relevant to, like, sexuality to them. And, like, in fairness, the definition of grooming is outside of strictly sexual grooming. But, like, they in no way even connect it to that. They do when they try and call, like, LGBT people pedophiles. But, like... Generally, to them, they use grooming to mean you're teaching a kid a thing that I don't want them to know or I find evil. So that's grooming. Meanwhile, here in Michigan, the only people who voted against a law banning child marriage were 5 Republicans. Like, come on. And this isn't even the only state where we've seen that happen recently, where fucking child marriage came up for, like, legal things. And Republicans were like, I don't know about this. I'm worried about trans people and gonna dog whistle and say that they're all pedophiles. However, I also represent Appalachia, and I believe that anyone should be able to marry 14-year-olds. Good lord. Republicans are morally bankrupt shitbags. It's genuinely just awful. Ashy Boo, thanks for 32 months, says, howdy Hannah, are there any big right-wing conspiracy dates upcoming? I haven't been keeping up with the Q folks lately. They have basically stopped giving dates altogether. It's kind of like I don't know this to be a fact, but considering we still have some Christians that try and occasionally make, like, predictions about the end times and Jesus' return, I kind of imagine close to whenever whoever the actual historical Jesus was killed by the Romans. Like, whenever that happened, which probably did happen, I'm guessing, I would imagine there were probably times when a lot of them were like, no, guys, 2 years from now, Jesus is coming back. But then it keeps not happening. And at a certain point, it almost has to become a matter of religious dogma that, oh, no one can know the time or the date of the return of the Lord. Because if you don't do that, then everyone starts making predictions, and every time a prediction gets wrong, people go, holy shit, this is ridiculous, and kind of making us look dumb. So, sort of free form, I'm not saying this was something that anyone intentionally thought to do, but like in QAnon now, as well as some of the meme stocks, because that's also a conspiracy, it has become de facto taboo within the community to try and give specific date predictions, because whether they're doing this consciously or not, within the community, they have an understanding that these dates that people predict coming and going with nothing happening are devastating to them. They're devastating to their community, they're devastating to them individually. So it becomes a community taboo to do these things. They even have words for it in the QAnon community. Unfortunately, it's kind of mired in the language of like 4chan, 8chan, you know, anonymous image board culture, so there's a lot of slurs. So the term they use for this is date F-slurring. Someone posts like, oh, I think this is going to happen on August 17th. They'll be like, hey, stop date F-slurring, you date F-slur. Date in this context meaning like a date on a calendar. Made a video transition. That's pretty cool. I don't know how to integrate things like that, but I could try and figure it out, because that's actually pretty cool. If you wouldn't mind me using it for something. I don't know what I would use it for, but I could use it. Wow, I'm a really selfish cunt. Let me be clear about something. That may have been very rude what I just did. You showed me something that you did, and my immediate narc brain thought was, is this for me? You said nothing about this being anything you would ever let anyone use other than you. But that's where my brain went. I apologize. It is very cool, and has nothing to do with me. Stone Corbell, thanks for 37 months. Briar Rose says, hey Hannah, this is off topic, but I did my first pole dancing class this week. It was amazing, and I have been sore for days. Oh, I bet, like, just do it, just add it to OBS as a video source? Okay. What was I gonna... Oh, me and Baja, I said this, like, last week we went to a concert, because our city was doing, like, a concert thing. And there were a bunch of different, like, bands and performers and stuff. One of the ones that we saw, the last one we saw, actually, before we left for the night. Excuse me, I forget the name of the band, and I don't think I'd say anyway, because it might dox. But, they had dancers, and they had pole dancers, and oh my god, this fucking dude was doing, like, pole dancing for one of the, I don't remember if it was one of the songs, or during the show, there was, like, a DJ, so there would be, like, you know, someone would come up and do a song, and then maybe there'd be an interlude, and the dancers would come up while they're figuring out something with the show. The DJ was great. I just want to point that out. She, like, for people who don't know, there's, like, oh shit, Left Flank Vets. Thank you so much for the raid. Everyone go check out Left Flank Vets. I feel like we haven't gotten a chance to raid Left Flank Vets in a while. It just hasn't matched up with our streaming, I don't think. But thank you so much. I'm Hannah, a leftist variety streamer. We cover all sorts of political stuff. I primarily, my focus is on conspiratorial and delusional thinking, and how it appears in sort of conspiratorial and cult-like communities, and we see that a lot in right-wing communities these days, so that's kind of where I tackle videos and different stuff from. I try and be funny, I guess. I collect movies, if you like plastic bullshit, like I do. Anyway, just hang out and have a good time. What was I talking about? Oh, the concert we just went to. Yeah, there was this dude who was one of the dancers, and during one of the numbers, oh my god, the core strength in this man. When you see people, like, doing the pole dancing, and they, like literally, like, they, like, pivot with their, like, core, and they're, like, straight out with their arms, but then with their core, they, like, put their legs up. Holy shit. Sorry, my alarm's going off. Anyway, so that was fun. It was a very fun concert. It actually rained a little bit. It was just kind of like sprinkling, but it was actually kind of like beautiful out, you know? It was a little warm, but then it started like not barely sprinkling, like misting. It was almost like it was perfect weather. It's awesome. Anyway, Stone Corbell, thanks for 37 months. Briar Rose says, hey, Hannah, this is off topic, but I just read that. That's the pole dancing thing that got me on this tangent. Anyway, I hope you too can get the core strength of that, wonderfully abbed dancer man from the concert. Fenekagami says they do the same thing with indoctrination. Yeah. They just think indoctrination is telling kids not to be assholes, basically. Are you telling my child to be tolerant of people that are different than me and them? Oh my god, you're grooming children. Even I don't know what that voice was. Oh my god. Maps and Mimic says, everyone should listen to the Old Gods of Appalachia. It's such a good podcast, and both the writers and most of the community of listeners are queer as hell. That's interesting. What's it about? Quebeca Lynn, thanks for 29 months. There we go. Finally got that shout out for Left Flank Vets. Definitely go check out Left Flank Vets. Did I see this creepy old ghoul? Oh god, what is happening now? Oh no, what are they gonna do? Oh Jesus, what the fuck? Look, I've said this before. I am not religious. I don't think religion is true. I'm a secular humanist, you know? But I also don't really, you know, I'm not like an asshole about people's religion as long as they're not hurting anyone, you know? Whatever. Religion in and of itself can be a relatively neutral thing, like any cultural thing. Unfortunately, like other things humans are involved in, they will use it as an excuse to do really fucked up stuff. Like this. Like, this has nothing to do with, like, religious ritual or whatever. You can have your religious ritual and baptize your kid. I don't think it's a thing, but whatever. But the second you start fucking hurting the kid, hitting them, no, not cool. There's also discussion to be had in terms of the abusive nature of the psychological effect on children, telling them that they're, like, terrible from birth, tainted with sin, going to hell. Stuff that I also dealt with, because as I've told you guys, for the Raiders, though, I went to, like, a fundamentalist Baptist school as a kid. So, like, I dealt with a lot of religious indoctrination, fundamentalist fucking nonsense. I understand what that abuse can be like, but, like, holy fucking shit. If I was one of those parents, I don't care that this man is an old priest. I would have slapped the... No, Twitch, Minecraft, Fortnite. I'm skipping, I'm stalled, my brain's stalled, I went too far. Forget everything I just said for the last 2 minutes. Let's just say I wouldn't be going to that church anymore. Like, is the priest... Oh, even the, like, woman here is trying to grab him. Like, is this priest... He looks pretty old. Like, I'm not kidding. I'm not saying this to be mean. Does he have, like, dementia? Or does he have cognitive decline and he genuinely doesn't, like, know what's going on? Or doesn't know what year it is? Because maybe when this guy was young, I would imagine more people were probably cool with, like, being really abusive to babies. It's fucked up, but probably true, you know? Older generations are more comfortable doing fucked up shit to their kids in terms of, like, physical compliance, let's say. Like, did he just forget himself for a second and forgets it's the 21st century and he can't fucking shake a baby? What the hell? Fucking middle school we learned not to shake babies. There was a whole campaign at my school. There were signs all over, don't shake babies. You'd think it was the new fad. You'd think it was like Rubik's Cubes and baby shaking. Anyway, Maps and Mimic says, nope, read that. What was the one that I was on? We got the raid. Overthought, thanks for gifting a sub. Isn't Nick Fuentes banned on Twitch because yikes?
Here's the path.
You can't, like, have him on your show on Twitch, But my understanding is that you can show brief clips of people, like you could show a brief clip of, like, Alex Jones, as long as you were using it to be like, Alex Jones is wrong because it's news. You can commentate on certain things, you know? But I couldn't unironically have Nick Fuentes on, or just play his videos without any commentary. But you can in... It's not a black and white thing. There's a gray area where you're allowed to operate in terms of commentating on stuff that's newsworthy, and he falls under that. Answer Amazing with 13 months says, howdy Hannah, 13 months subbed, and like a decade as a fan. Also, I feel so good on my meds, antidepressants. That's great. Yeah, my meds have been doing really good for me too. I'm really, really glad that yours have been helping. My therapist, literally, I was talking to my therapist in my last session on Wednesday, and I've had such a big change. She's like, oh yeah, now when I have, like, patients come in and talk about maybe wanting to try medication, like, sure, she specifically said, like, I of course point out that, like, it helps everyone to a varying degree, and not everyone's going to be, you know, as receptive as others to medication, but now she uses me as the example of, like, however, I have obviously no specifics because HIPAA or because, you know, confidentiality, but she'll be like, oh, I have this patient, and, like, the medication has changed her life, basically. So that's nice, being a positive example, for once. Rosenberg says, water sommelier reacts to QAnon. What? Primary water, the new water by QAnon supporters. To be clear, is a water sommelier a thing? You love my shirt, it looks comfortable? It is comfortable. It is actually very comfortable, and it's got Darth Vader on the back. You want to see? Cute. It's got a... I actually kind of wish this wasn't here. Like, I don't mind it, but I think it'd be cooler if it was more minimalistic. I don't even think it needs to say Star Wars. But then it's got the Darth Vader on the back. I don't know how well you can see this. Anyway, it's a comfy pajama shirt that I wear around the house. Astrofox with 1,000 bits says, had my HRT appointment yesterday, just need to get blood work checked to make sure I'm good to go. I'm so excited. Watching your transition has been so inspiring for mine. That's awesome. I'm so happy for you. Seriously, like, hormones have made me feel so much better. I'm really excited for you. You have no idea. You just have no idea.
So a lot of people are asking me for examples of primary water.
Wait, what?
It isn't a PJ shirt? I thought this came with... It definitely came with matching pants that I thought were pajama pants, so maybe that's why I thought they were pajamas? They're not like PJs in the sense that I couldn't wear them out. I wear this shirt out. I just consider it kind of a PJ shirt because it's, like, incredibly casual, you know?
Because they were never taught it.
Primary water, right.
Anyway, sorry, water sommelier. Is a water sommelier really a thing? Like, I don't mean to be like a dick. I get it. There are things I don't understand. Like, but like, I already... How do I even want to put this and not be a dick? Like being a wine sommelier. I understand why that's a thing. Sure, I think a lot of the, like, wine... hoity-toity wine community stuff is, like, bullshit. Like, I don't really think you can tell, like, the difference between, like, $1,000 bottle of wine and a $30,000 bottle of wine. Like, I think above, like, $200. At that point, all wine is probably subjective. And to be clear, I am being incredibly generous with that number. If I wasn't an alcoholic and I drank wine, I wouldn't go above 30, probably. 30 would be about my cap on how much I'm spending on a bottle of wine. On a birthday, maybe I'd go 50. But that's at least wine, you know? Wine does have, like, oh, grapes, different kinds of grapes, you know, grown in different regions, different styles, different regional ways of, like, you know, fermenting the grapes and how they're stored and how long they're stored and their bottling process. Like, I, in theory, at least understand even recognizing the subjectivity of taste here. Like, oh, you know, they're a knowledgeable person on wine. I understand why a restaurant that does, like, high-end wine or whoever would have a wine expert. Sure. I'd like to be a cheese sommelier, by the way. Is a cheese sommelier a thing? And can I be trained? Anyway, water sommelier. Okay, not trying to be a dick. Not trying to be a dick. How much is there to know about different kinds of water? This one's flat. And this one's sparkling. And this one has minerals. And this one has maybe a little bit of lemon in it. Or this one has lime. Or maybe a little different fruity. I'm sure there are many different kinds of bottled water. I'm sure there are different fucking regions. If there are actual, like... it's gonna hurt me to say this. There are probably rich asshole hoity-toity bespoke bottled water brands. But, like, does that really make it a thing? I don't think a water sommelier is a real thing. Raven says, I'm told my therapist points to me as a schizophrenia patient who's been stabilized and healthy thanks to medication and proper coping mechanisms. Right on. Ashy Booze says there are folks who are very knowledgeable about water and minerals in water and they call themselves sommeliers. That seems a little disrespectful, if I'm being honest, to people who are like sommeliers for wine. Or is sommelier also a term that's been ported over to other things? Like, can you be a whiskey sommelier, or does that have like a different word? I assume there are people who are experts in different liquors and different things, but I'm way off track here. Raven says this water is so many tasty forever chemicals. I'm just going to take a drink and I'll tell you how many parts per million in microplastics this is.
So a lot of people are asking me for examples of primary
Microplastics! It's the lead of the 21st century.
water.
Wait, what?
Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe microplastics won't be like lead. Maybe they'll just make us smarter. That's how that works, right? I've read X-Men comics. I've read Marvel. Sometimes you get chemicals in you and then it makes you a superhero.
Because they were never taught.
Sorry, Anti-Pretzel, I apologize. Anti-Pretzel said, it's about eldritch happenings in an alternate history, early 1900s Appalachia. It's a bit slow burn at the start, but it's a really great anthology of stories of odd things that go on in the hollers of the oldest mountains in the world. The narrator, Brother Steve, has a soothing voice and you can feel the emotion he tries to put out while he tells the stories. That's interesting. I actually think, like, you know, they're the obvious fucked up cultural things when we're talking about Appalachia. The incest, the child marriage, blah, 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 blah. Totally. But I do find it interesting that it seems like Appalachia is also a really, really rich setting for stories. And even within, like, I don't know, maybe it's because of the isolationist nature of some of the people who live there, but it just feels like you'd think there'd be more, like, movies and stories about the place, even if we're talking in not, like, a positive way, like horror movies. You know, think about The Hills Have Eyes. Think about that, but instead of a desert, it's Appalachia. Right? I don't know. I'm kind of thinking Deliverance type stuff. Which also isn't necessarily fair to people who live there, but you know what I mean. That's the bare minimum, and they're not even doing that. It's interesting. Prakagam says, to be fair, the contents of water absolutely matters when making coffee tea. It's the difference between your coffee tasting like water and tasting like blueberries. See, to me, that feels like it would more fall under, like, if you were someone who was like a coffee expert or a tea expert, part of that expertise would be knowing the kind of water to use with different kinds of tea or coffee to complement whatever's going on with the beans or the tea. But just a water sommelier? I don't know. I'm not feeling that. Bittergrin with a link. Oh, thank you. Oh, it has a role-playing game. Very nice.
Taught it.
Primary water, right.
That reason being is our educational system was taken over by the Rockefellers in the 1900s.
Quick question.
Okay, here's the thing that a lot of people... I've seen this claim a couple times. I assume this is going around conspiracy circles. Fuzzy Simba, thanks for 4 months. Either as a free-form anti-educational conspiracy or someone with a political interest in continuing to erode the rights belief that a public educational system is important has spread this. Yes. Industrialists had a large part in forming the American public school system. That's not untrue. But like all conspiracy theories, they will take a nugget of truth and then out of it try and grow a bullshit plant. So the implication they're trying to have here is that industrialists in the early 20th century, the Rockefellers, whoever, they're saying, usually it's a dog whistle for anti-Semitism. But whatever. Industrialists involved in the formation of American public education, their intent was not to brainwash you into believing some sort of political ideology, as some of the right-wingers believe. It wasn't to, like, push wokeness in the early 20th century or whatever bullshit they're gonna make up to fearmonger about. It was literally because industrialists saw, oh, we have industries that are growing that not only require people to be able to do things with their hands, like a trade, like in the old days, like people who individually would have to, you know, I don't know, loom something or sew something or manufacture something. Of course, now we have people working on more industrialized equipment, but behind the scenes, even for that equipment, not only do we need people to be able to repair and engineer said equipment, but we need a whole back room of bureaucrats keeping our books, doing math. We need people who are going to do, like, writing for us in terms of advertisements. It just becomes cheaper for the industrialists to say, hey, government, federal and state governments, we should start forming a public education system so all of us collectively put money into education. That way, potential future workers are already educated about, at minimum, basic math that could be used in simple accounting, basic arithmetic, basic adding, subtracting, algebra, stuff like that. And reading and writing, right? If you make these skills commonplace in the public, it drives down the cost of labor because those no longer become, like, niche skills. Those become common knowledge, and all of a sudden, having the ability to read or having the ability to do basic math doesn't give you as much of a leg up on the competition. It saturates the labor market with a specific skill and drives down the cost of that labor. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are also aspects of, like, hey, it's just good to live in a society where people know math, which is true, but it's not a conspiracy. It's just, for once, it's always funny when very occasionally the interests of the very wealthy and the interests of the public, even if they're not totally in line, sometimes they kind of travel more or less in parallel, or at least not against each other like it often does. In the case of, like, public education being formed in the United States. Yeah, it helped capitalists, but also good for society. But instead of seeing that, conspiracy theorists just go, no, it must have been part of an evil plan. I feel like we need to start teaching people how to understand complex, unmotivated systems based on incentive, and how perverse incentive structures can make even quote-unquote good people, for whatever that means, take what would be considered rational, self-interested actions that actually are harmful not only to themselves but others, due to their lack of understanding of their piece in a larger system. Raven says, haven't heard the Rockefellers' name in a while. I was almost convinced they paid a bunch of conspiracy sites to spread theories that Soros was behind everything, so they'd take their eyes away from the Rockefellers. Well, a lot of things have a best by date in terms of conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theories are often very emotionally based, so the closer you can make it hit to home for conspiracy theorists, the better. So making, like, a still living person like George Soros their boogeyman, as opposed to, like, Rockefeller, who the famous one has been dead for a while now, I think it makes it a little more present. It makes it, to them, a clear and present danger, as opposed to Rockefeller, which you could argue is in the past, you know, even though, of course, the family still exists and still has money. Logarth says, environmental scientists, specifically geotechnical groundwater assessment and remediation here, please don't drink groundwater, or if you're one of these idiots, please do. And Fennikagami says, it's part of why it's so weird the Republicans are so against public education. It's kind of showing just how much they're devolving now that they're starting to attack things that actively help capitalists. This is something that's interesting, and I know this is already a discussion been going on. This isn't a hot take, but it is interesting how it seems like over decades, Republicans intentionally fostered an audience of uneducated, gullible, easily manipulated rubes. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't all Republicans. Some of them are just self-interested rich people, or just people who are racist or whatever and don't really care about anything but those particular positions, right? But it seems like they kind of lost control of the machine at some point, and there's an ongoing struggle between just the rich people who kind of like know that the bigotry and stuff is bullshit and strategic in order to keep poor people voting for them, and the actual people who grew up on this propaganda bullshit. I'm thinking like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Boebert types. Like, sure, they're also grifting, but they definitely believe a lot of the nonsense they say because they were raised under this propaganda shield that the right tried to raise in order to defend against a future Nixon incident happening. But instead of just protecting them from general public perception, for instance now with the Trump indictments, you have Fox News, Newsmax, all these other partisan 24-hour news networks running defense for them. It's just a private sector propaganda outlet in order to make sure that enough of the public never really knows what's going on, so collective action becomes difficult, if not impossible. Unfortunately, while this has worked for decades for them, it started to backfire when the people who were brought up on this propaganda, who don't know it's a big grift, start growing up, voting more, becoming involved in politics, and becoming the kind of people in the party who are supposed to be making plans, but they can't because they don't know the reality, because the previous leadership kept them from knowing reality to keep them voting for them. It's just a weird devolution. It's like the opposite of the singularity. You know, in the singularity in computing, it's the hypothetical point at which some sort of computer becomes smart enough that it can design a better computer, which can then design an even better computer because it itself is better than the previous model, and so on, ad infinitum, until you, like, it's infinite growth. It's a hypothetical, right? But it's like that, but the opposite. It's like the system broke down for Republicans. It's like instead of continuing to create competent people to come in behind them, in order to just sustain the base they already had, they had to dumb them down, and now that it's time for more of them to fill leadership roles, they simply cannot do it effectively because they only know bullshit. I can't even think of an appropriate metaphor. But it's interesting. It's interesting seeing short-term decision-making biting them. And to be clear, that doesn't make them less dangerous. That doesn't mean they're ineffective. You know? A rabid dog is still really dangerous, even if it's not behaving rationally or logically. It'll thrash around and hurt a lot of people in its confusion, including itself. But that's not necessarily better. A stupid, undirected evil is still evil. I just feel like even Darth Vader and the Emperor maybe kept the space trains running on time, but like an absolute psycho who has no idea what's going on and isn't Machiavellian but thinks they are, that's so bad. Fenekagami says, it also means that now the capitalists are starting to undermine them because MAGA is being forced to attack capital interests. Look at DeSantis and Disney. That's interesting to me because at the end of the day, that's what matters to donors. That's what matters to, like, excuse me. Sorry, meds. Doing something to my tummy. What was I gonna say? Oh, that conflict between the crazies in the party and capital interests. The conspiracy theories, again, a lot of them are free form, but certainly some of them were promoted by certain interests. And again, this isn't like me saying it's a conspiracy, people in a room going, wah ha 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 ha. I just think a lot of individuals saw, oh, if we promote these conspiracy theories, it'll make Democrats and progressivism and any sort of even center-left leaning economic policy, it'll make it seem like communism and evil and all this stuff, you know? That was helpful to them, even if it was a very black and white, reductive to the point of incorrectness way of looking at it. It was helpful to them, but now the monsters they've created are attacking them based on the same misinformation, and they can't wrangle it back together and be like, no, 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 no. All this woke progressive bullshit you're supposed to be mad about was supposed to hurt Democrats, and to stop you from asking for, like, you know, us to actually promote the general welfare like we're supposed to. You weren't supposed to use it to try and stop us making billions of dollars a year on the 5th Disney live-action remake. Raven said, Republicans have found a single voter issues, had a focus on single voter issues. Now that those single issues includes things like, demon globalists, they kind of let the plot get away from them. And nope, read that one. Cool. Anyway, sorry, I've been talking almost an hour. We've barely watched videos today.
That the Rockefellers infiltrated the German education system as well, or just the American one? Because I'm German.
And then the media was taken over by Operation Mockingbird in the 1960s.
Oh my god.
Operation Mockingbird. Are you a QAnon supporter? Because I know they believe in that shit and they think everything is now fake news these days.
So both systems do not teach about primary water, which is right here.
Wait, that is an artesian spring source. So you just make up a new name for something, or what?
This is the combination of hydrogen and oxygen coming in from inside the Earth at a volcanic pressure.
Hydrogen and oxygen.
I'm sorry, does the QAnon guy think that right there water is being synthesized? Oh, Lord.
Yeah, that's water, H2O.
I do tag as just chatting. True. Sorry, Profane Priestess. I've missed a lot of people's chats today, and I apologize. Thank you for pointing it out. It's not intentional. Profane Priestess said there's a huge debate in pedagogical circles over what balance we should strike between educating for work, as you've just explained, and educating for self-actualization. Yeah, Dan Olson actually went into this in his, was it In Search of Flat Earth? Maybe? It's not a dichotomy, more of a sliding scale. Some educational philosophers like Dewey are more idealist, while others just see it as good for capitalism. It's a huge debate, and I can't stand how often the right oversimplifies hundreds of years of pedagogical philosophy. Yeah. I don't think they know the word pedagogy. Like, you could have said that to them and be... And again, I'm not trying to be pretentious, but, like, I really think you're overthinking how much you think they think about this.
Create brand new water.
What the hell is brand new water? We have 325
brand new water.
million.
I understand that I understand that it is physically possible to synthesize water. I understand that, I get it. But this guy straight up believes that right there, like, hydrogen and oxygen are, like, shooting together and becoming fucking water? What in the world? Oh my god, someone teach this child about the water cycle. Like, does he think, I'm just trying to think in my head, does he think that water disappears and then we need new water to replace it? Does he understand how things work? Sorry, my alarm's going off. That's my medication alarm, but I already took it. So we're good. Take your meds if you need to, chat.
Trillion gallons of water on this planet, and we don't get more or less water. That water has been always here, so it's called the water cycle. Hopefully, you know.
Zero Iron Wolf says, oh neat, an earlier stream I can watch for half an hour before going to bed. Oh, nice.
This in high school.
By the way, the reason that I'm doing this early is because we're having a beach day later. Going to the beach. So.
Living water. Water that does not contain fluoride, that does not contain arsenic.
Oh my fucking god. Water fluoridation. is a good thing in populations that don't have access to fluoridated toothpaste. The reason that water fluoridation started was because of people's poor dental health, and including fluoride in the water helped strengthen their enamel, which helps the longevity of people's teeth. Still good. It's less common today, in part, unfortunately, because of conspiracy theorists, but also in some ways it has become redundant in certain places in the developed world because most toothpastes are fluoridated at this point. You basically have to go out of your way to get unfluoridated toothpaste, which you can, but again, you usually have to look for it. So if you're brushing your teeth a couple times a day, like a normal person, like, it's fine. But also, fluoride is fine in the amounts that it's in water, drinking water, where it is, and the amount it's in your toothpaste, you're good. It's good. Logarth says, that's hydrostatic flow, where the water table in the surrounding area is slightly higher than the water body. But the bottom of the water body has a much higher porosity, like sand, and the water flows up into it instead of from a side, which still appears to be going on too. It's interesting. It looks cool.
That does not have
Bumble
pharmaceuticals or drugs or anything.
Pharmaceuticals or drugs, good lord. Bumble Homestead says there's a man with a fluoride poisons. Wait, there is a man with a fluoride poisons the kids sticker in my neighborhood. He smokes with his kids in the car. What? Fluoride isn't in cigarettes. What are you implying?
Inside of it. It's pure, and that's why.
Oh my fucking god. People's obsession with the aesthetic of nature and describing it some sort of magical pureness is gonna make me goddamn lose it. Get a fucking Brita filter. Oh my god.
Back in the day when they were going into mines and they were trying to mine, for example, copper or gold or silver, whatever it may be, these mines would actually flood out. They would have to get pumps to try to pump out the water.
Groundwater? What are you talking about? Huh?
Because the water was just coming in through the walls because there is so much water underneath us. But the media will all...
Is this dumb motherfucker think that people don't know that water... Does this man think that wells are a secret? Does he think that our ability to dig down and find water, which again is the primary way people got water for thousands of years, is by building a well? You think this is a secret? You being dumb and not knowing something until you were an adult doesn't make it a conspiracy. You can just admit you didn't know a thing. That's fine. I've done things like that. I didn't know how to say the word anathema until like a year and a half ago. You can be an adult and have certain things that you're like, oh, I didn't know that. That's a funny general knowledge thing that I hadn't thought about, or whatever. It can be a little embarrassing, but it is what it is. You don't need to come up with conspiracy theories to explain why you didn't know what the water table was. On the Ryland, thanks for 5 months. Logarth says, fun fact, most places, unless you're in a desert or tidal shelf, have groundwater between 0 feet and 80 feet. Anathema was also me. Ha 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 ha, yes.
always try to put the fear that we are running out of water.
The media is not giving us the...
You dumb asshole! Running out of water, you motherfucker! Potable? Do you know the word potable? Do you know the word potable? I've also not seen that as much as I've heard it be a, it's not so much a supply issue as it is a distribution issue, especially when you have companies like Nestle buying up water rights for pennies. Raven says, I bet I could sell a bottle of dehydrated water to this guy. Zero Iron Wolf says, shit like this feels like it's increasing the number of people who want to return to an age where we lived in the ripe old age, lived to the ripe old age of died in childbirth. It's Tyler Durden shit. It's this idea that we need to return to some sort of agrarian, yeah, it's not good. It's not good. It's people see the complications and issues posed by industrialization and now information age industrialization as well, in terms of how computers and cell phones and stuff have once again revolutionized the way that work is done and the ways that society is structured. People will sometimes see that, but instead of wanting to deal with these issues in a way that hopefully benefits everyone, or at least benefits everyone to the maximal extent that you can in a negotiation with many actors with different interests, right? Instead of that, they just go, no, I don't want to deal with this complex problem. I will return to monkey. And they want to, like, go back and do some weird agrarian shit. I don't know how to break it to you guys. Pre-agricultural revolution was dog shit. I understand. That we see things that's like, hey, did you know hunter and gatherer societies on average worked fewer hours per week by a lot? Like, they'd go and hunt and then they just have days where they, whatever. Yeah, okay, you know what else they had? Death from every easily preventable disease, injury, superstition. Like, I get it. Not every society's, like, super sexist and shitty, but, like, are we gonna pretend that there aren't a lot of pre-industrial societies that have also, unfortunately, taken part in, like, extremely patriarchal behaviors? Or extremely fucked up behaviors? Like, even look at something like ancient, like, Rome or Greece, right? There are a lot of things about that society that are super fucked up. Crucifixions, pederasty, all sorts of fucked up shit. You can't go backwards, and you don't want to go backwards, okay? It's not good. You want to do your best moving forward and try and tackle problems as they come, and there are a lot of them, but running away from the issue does not solve the problem. It just leaves it in the hands of people who are going to deal with it without your input. Probably richer, more powerful people who are going to negotiate these things to their benefit, which is actually something we're seeing being fought right now when we're talking about the Actors Union and the Writers Guild right now. SAG-AFTRA and the Writers Guild of America and their negotiations that are ongoing with Hollywood studios. There's this newer technology coming out, the ability to use computers to basically recreate the likenesses of actors, whether like through full characters, or I'm sure you guys heard about the background actors thing that was just discussed. I believe SAG-AFTRA came out and basically said that part of the things that studios want to be able to do is to take background actors, known sometimes colloquially as extras, and just scan them in a 3D scan and then own their image in perpetuity. So instead of actually being a background actor or actress, which, by the way, is how tons of SAG performers get into SAG, is they start with background roles, get their SAG credentials, and then move on to, like, speaking parts, featured extras, featured roles, and then, for some of them, ideally, starring roles, if that's what they want to do. But they want to do away with that. They want to pay you one time for the image of your existence, for your body, for your image in a 3D scan. They will pay you once, and then they own you. They own your image, and they can put it wherever they want, and you can't do anything about it. That is literally one of the things studios want to do. Can you imagine the other things they've brought up that we don't know about? Can you imagine the things they want to do, but they didn't even bring to the negotiating table? Moneyed interests are always going to try and keep as much money as possible and give as little money as possible to the people who actually make the product that they're selling. It's disgusting. This is why collective action, unionization, is so important. Hopefully, SAG-AFTRA and the Writers Guild can get Hollywood to go fuck themselves. Because I don't know if you guys know this, and you guys know how big I am into movies. I know I bring this up all the time. Ugh. I think studios vastly overestimate their power in the 21st century. At least in this point in the 20th century. Maybe not in the early 2000s. We live in a world where there is too much content. Now, I don't mean that as a moral judgment. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying, just practically speaking, nobody has enough time in their lives to watch the amount of content that is churned out of the entertainment industry. People have backlogs for decades of bullshit they have already not seen. I don't know what they think this is. Do they think that this is like 1985 and we're all gonna go start picketing and being like, no, writers and actors, take less money so we can have more garbage movies? Maybe it'd be one thing if Hollywood had just been like fucking nailing it the past couple decades. Maybe public sentiment would be on their side. Because I get it. Despite the fact that labor should have solidarity with labor, a lot of people don't. You know? Maybe if everyone was like, studios are great and Disney's awesome and everyone loves the movies that have been coming out the last 20 years, maybe they could get the public to be, could try and get the public to bully the unions into getting a less favorable deal. But is there a single person in this fucking country that likes Disney as a company? Not their products, not their fandoms. Is there a single person in this country who likes the corporation Disney or Warner Brothers or Sony? No! The only sentiment I've seen online from both the left and the right is fuck Disney, fuck these studios. Like, what, are you gonna give me another... And again, you guys know I like Marvel movies. You gonna give me another 7 fucking Marvel movies next year? I love the movies that I've seen. Like at least a lot of them. You could stop making movies tomorrow in the Hollywood studio system, and it would be fine. If anything, the overall quality of films would probably improve. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't know what Disney thinks they're doing. I don't know what Warner Brothers thinks they're doing. This is just asinine. And it's making them look like the selfish cunts they are. Take a look at this and see how it goes. Seriously. SAG and the Writers Guild should be examples to this country about how to do collective labor action. Seriously. Look how, like... just the concept of being able to, like, go on strike for long periods of time and be okay, and be able to use that against the people you're negotiating with because you've been paying dues to the organization, which is fine because you're still making more overall even once you get rid of the dues because of the union negotiations. But then when you go on strike, then there are funds and things so you can keep on strike for a while. Like, this is important. Effectively, we're in a system that I don't like, but it is an adversarial system nonetheless. It is labor versus capital, and capital is organized. Labor should be too. Jesus Christ. Profane Priestess says, primitivism is folly. It's not as an exaggeration to say without agriculture, science as we know it could not exist. There's a reason in the old days every scientist seemed to have had wealthy relatives. Education, science, and so on require leisure time. Without agriculture, you could say goodbye to modern medicine, the sanitation, to large-scale diplomacy. The amount of suffering returning to monkey would cause is immeasurable. As a disabled person, I wouldn't be alive in that world. Yeah. Longarth says, Fran already called on the other unions to pay attention to what's going on with them. If the Teamsters and dock workers get in on this, we might have ourselves a general strike. They fucking should. Unironically, every union in the country should get in on this. You don't even need, and I understand most workers in the United States aren't unionized. You don't need most of them. If you got every union in the country to go, let's show people what unions can do, I think things would get solved pretty fast for those people at minimum. And I think in that case, any win for labor is a win for everyone in labor, even if you're not in a union. And if everyone were to be able to see the benefits of such a thing very publicly in this day and age, when things are able to be memed and political ideas spread, That would be huge. Anyway, I am so off track. Holy shit, we've been here for over an hour and we're still on the first TikTok that's not even 3 minutes long. Feeling talky today, I guess. That's fine.
We are running out of water.
I don't even know why I'm... Like, you guys like to hear me talk. Why else would you be here? You can just search the internet if you don't want to hear me talk. Why am I so self-conscious about that? Very weird.
We are running out of water in certain parts of the planet. In other parts, we have too much water. That is the problem with climate change, that the water cycle is messed up. In some areas, it rains too much. In others, it barely rains anymore. That is the issue why we think...
Oops. Shit, I didn't mean to do that.
So a lot of people are...
That is the problem with climate change, that the water cycle is messed up. In some areas, it rains too much. In others, it barely rains anymore. That is the issue why we're thinking we are running out of water. Not in general, in certain parts of this planet.
They start putting all this drought stuff and that we're running out of...
Droughts. I fucking hate these people. It is literally the same ideology that global warming can't be a thing because it snowed in my backyard yesterday.
Water, and then now, because...
We are never going to survive as a species if we don't kind of collectively get over this, like, tunnel vision, this borderline solipsistic worldview that some people have, that if I don't directly see a thing happening and it doesn't affect me directly, it isn't real. You can't function like that as an individual or as a society at large. Logarth says, humans are social creatures and this is just another form of community for a lot of people. Also, this is the way when I yell at the TV, other people can hear me and maybe giggle at my jokes.
Because we are running out of water, supposedly, because we are supposedly using it all up. They're trying to usher in, for example, water police, water taxes, and all these water, basically, restrictions so that you can't grow your own food.
I never heard about any government saying
I'll look at the bits messages in a second.
Grow my own food.
You can't water your lawn, you can't wash your car, so it's
Lawns are stupid and you shouldn't have them.
important to be...
I am in favor of a lawn ban. Ban all lawns.
Be aware of primary water, the water you have never been taught about.
I can tell you where we never been taught about primary water because some people just made that word up. It's called groundwater, it's called artesian spring source, what you chose, and it's called the water cycle. It's that simple. So, water is not just water, and please do not believe in conspiracy theories and don't be a dehydrated guy. Cheers.
Don't be a dehydrated guy. Alright, let's see the bits messages I missed. Raven says, yes, those Tyler Durden ideas were popularized by the famous fascist Julius Evola. Zero Iron Wolf says, I really hate these type of people because I was born with a fault in my stomach that would have made it so I couldn't have lived to my first birthday if it hadn't been for modern medicine. Anti-Pretzel says, sad news on that front. The studios pretty much just want to wait them out until winter when they're all broke, nearly homeless, and freezing in the streets. Oh, I saw. Honestly, I'm just gonna say, if it got to the point where they were struggling in the winter, and again, I think this comes down to we need to figure out how to effectively leverage the internet in order to show force and power in the 21st century for labor. So literally, and I know this is gonna sound silly, but like, if SAG and the Writers Guild were having issues, literally put up donation pages. Every rich fucking actor and actress, first of all, who owes everything to their fucking guild, should be putting millions of dollars into that shit to help people if that were to happen. And then also individuals like you and I, even if we can only put in like $10 or something, or anything. I know not everyone can. I don't know. Solidarity is important. I just think no matter what, they just need to keep it going. Absolutely don't relent. But I do understand that at the end of the day, it's those people's livelihood. But I hope they are able to hold on absolutely as long as they possibly can. Because a point needs to be fucking made. It's just tiring. By the way, there's been some divisive stuff that's been intentionally, like, put out by studios and different, like, industry things, like, talking about the fact that Fran Drescher's, like, weird about vaccines. Let it go. You guys know how much I hate that shit. Let that shit go. She's not forcing that on people. She's not telling people they can't get vaccinated. I think she's stupid for that position, that she thinks there's any concern at all. But absolutely do not fall into some kind of bullshit. This is like the industry version of a 4chan psyop. Don't let some fucking industry thing being like, oh, Fran Drescher, the president of SAG-AFTRA, oh, like, she's doing this because of vaccine mandates. No, she's not. That's one position she holds that is wrong. This is not about that. Don't let that conversation be steered in that direction. Don't let assholes who are trying to poison the well dictate the confines of the discussion about labor rights here. Because that's not what this is about. Don't get fucking tricked. Fennikagami says, ban all lawns. Hannah, if you weren't a socialist, I'd swear, you were trying to take my job. It's alright. You can be my assistant. Everyone can be my assistants. Oh, there is a fundraiser for striking workers. Perfect. Excellente. I will donate to that when I get a chance a little bit, because holy shit, that's important. Adam Conover tweeted this. I love Adam. Fucking wonderful. Alright, anyway. Let's get on this shit. What's Raging Rob been up to? I feel like we haven't covered him in a bit. What's going on?
My hair is all fucked up.
How long to pin it for? I don't know what the different denominations of time are. 10 minutes? 20 minutes? I don't know what the times are.
What's going on, everybody?
Something in that range.
Got the Raging Rob here. It's been a while since I made a video. I haven't been on TikTok, YouTube lately. Things have changed here in Michigan.
What's changed, Rob? This guy has almost the same exact hairdo as my dad. My shitty biological father.
Oh, I don't know anymore. Anyway, so I got another board meeting to go to tonight. This time it's in Davison, Michigan.
Why is he going to school board meeting? Oh no, it's a town hall meeting. I was gonna say, why is he going to a school board meeting? He doesn't have children. It's a town hall. We're good.
I'm on I-75 going south right now. I'm about coming up on...
Does he live in the town whose town hall meeting he's going to? Because I know he's a trucker. But is he just, like, while he's doing his trucking thing, is he just going from town to town when there's, like, town hall meetings and spouting right-wing bullshit? That'd be fucking hilarious. I'm just gonna tell you guys, hey, you know, if you don't have an open mic night in your town, maybe see if there's a local town hall meeting regularly. You can get in your tight 5 there. Just make it relevant. Yeah, there's also a potential UPS strike.
Had to do some business in Saginaw today, but...
Oh, that's where I used to live.
I was up in Mount Pleasant.
Just statistically, like, at some point, it's possible I might run into Rob, and I don't even know what I'm going to do if that happens. Like, if I ask for a selfie, is he going to break my nose? That'd be kind of funny, because then I'd press charges, but, you know, Zero Iron Wolf says, bet Rob's blood pressure is checked in pounds per square inch.
I was in Saginaw today, taking care of some business. But anyway, I'm gonna hotel it to Genesee County. Should be coming up on Genesee County line any minute now. But anyway, I'm in Birch Run right now. But so anyway, there's a town hall meeting tonight. If you don't know what's going on in Davison, Michigan, Now, this is allegedly. I haven't seen it myself. Oh, by the way, I want to point out that last night I went and seen Sounds of Freedom. That movie was gold. It really...
He's talking about that Jim Caviezel QAnon movie.
touched.
That's a bit reductive. I should explain. It's a bit of a Trojan horse QAnon film. So the premise behind this movie, if you don't know, it's allegedly about a real-life activist whose team stops sex trafficking. But as it turns out, this might shock you, but similar to Chris Kyle in the American Sniper situation, where when you look into it, it seems sus and maybe he's allegedly lying about all his stories. And that he makes up a bunch of stuff in order to be a right-wing grifter and sell his fake life story for a terrible movie. Anyway, that's all alleged. But anyway, in the movie, it's like, oh, he's a badass, and he and his team they break up child sex trafficking rings. And as we all know, sex trafficking of children primarily happens because wealthy Democrats do things and orchestrate a big cabal. No. The vast majority of child sex trafficking and similar crimes happen by family members. Statistically speaking, your kid is not in danger of randomly being picked up off the street by a random person, or even necessarily some rando they meet on the internet. The most likely person to victimize your child in either a straight-up assault context or in a kidnapping or trafficking context is either you as a parent or someone else, statistically. I'm not saying you're going to randomly do it. I'm just saying the thing you are focusing on has nothing to do with an actual concern about child trafficking or the welfare of children. What you are doing is engaging in a fantasy in order to justify the hatred and wanton violence that you would like to be perpetrated against your political enemies. And you're doing so by having this fantasy cast them as literal satanic villains. This is Nazi shit. This is things the Nazis did. And I know, Godwin's rolling in his fucking grave. I understand. But this is accurate. Guys, I don't see this brought up in this context enough. Literally, stuff like Nazi Germany, stuff like fascist Italy, the ability of people to target specific groups for genocide is dependent upon the fomentation and spread of conspiracy theories. Like, literally, the things that Hitler said in order to help stir up hatred and anti-Semitism in Germany were conspiracy theories. If it were the 1930s and Twitch existed in the 1930s, I would literally be talking about it. I would literally be like, oh, have you guys seen this weird Adolf guy over in Germany? What a fucking crazy guy. It's the same thing. It's the same rhetoric, just applied to a different context. It is the same thing. First name bunch of numbers says, Mike Godwin is still alive, and he specifically said after Charlottesville that a lot of people there are, in fact, Nazis. I did actually see that. I did the Wade Boggs thing. Rip Wade Boggs. Zero Iron Wolf says, apparently the movie is a few years old. It was going to be released by 20th Century Fox before the Disney purchase, and it was just forgotten about until Caviezel bought the rights back recently. That's honestly hilarious. That is so fucking funny. Most of the ticket sales, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw this, literally, like, right-wing, like, super PACs and other right-wing, like, slush fund bullshit things bought up the tickets. So if you see articles like, oh, this Jim Caviezel sex trafficking movie, oh my god, it's doing so well at the box office. Let me be clear. You guys know when random politicians get on the New York Times bestseller list because their super PACs buy up all their books? and then give them away as things during campaigns, so they artificially get on the bestseller list by spending their own money. That's literally what's happening with this movie. Organizations on the right and churches literally bought out entire theater showings and then were just giving tickets to people if they wanted it. I saw videos of people, or pictures, I even think I have one that I pulled from Twitter, where someone was in the theater and the show was sold out because some church or something had bought all the seats for the showing to give away tickets, but there were 5 people in the theater, even though all the tickets had been sold. It's literally them trying to artificially promote a movie so they can pull more people into their QAnon conspiracy grift.
I mean, it really got into the depths of what's going on with the human trafficking and child sex trafficking and stuff.
Are we talking The Sound of Freedom? Have we discussed how unhinged Jim is? We were, and he is unhinged. He's a QAnon guy.
Like that, it was a great movie.
It was a great movie. I like that Republicans or conservatives, whatever, right-wing people's view on if a movie is good or not has nothing to do with the quality of the film itself, but entirely based upon if it actually pushes forward their political beliefs. Have you ever seen Conservapedia's list of, great conservative movies and terrible liberal movies? It exemplifies this. What is a good movie? A good movie is any movie that makes me feel okay about being a right-wing person. A bad movie is any movie that says that being right-wing or selfish is bad. Back to the Future 2 is bad because Biff Tannen is considered a bad guy for being a rich guy, even though rich guys are awesome and the best.
Really was touchy.
Speaking of movies, I saw Beau is Afraid last night, the new Ari Aster movie, the guy who did Midsommar and Hereditary. Holy shit. Holy fuck. No spoilers. Goddamn. What a movie. What a fucking movie. It very much veered into just straight metaphor at the end. The plot was lost, the last hour of the movie, the plot basically becomes almost entirely metaphorical and stops being so concrete, but, it is a visually and emotionally amazing movie about abuse. About narcissistic abuse. In particular from, mothers. So... if that sounds up your alley, and you want to watch a 3-hour nightmare, especially if you're socially anxious, if you have social anxiety, I would describe... Here's what I would say. If you've seen Hereditary and you've seen Midsommar, it feels like Ari Aster had a lot of people come up to him and compliment his films, but they just kept bringing up the horrifying visuals, like the head in Hereditary, or some of the various things from Midsommar, or some of the other things that happen. And it almost feels like Ari Aster said, holy shit, everyone just likes my movies because I put horrifying visuals in them. So he went, I'm gonna do a whole movie that's 3 hours long, and sure, there are some beats here or there that are pretty visually shocking. I can think of at least 3 or 4, just off the top of my head. But the primary anxiety and plot momentum, nothing to do with graphic. Oh my god. It's all social horror. Anyone who's maybe, socially anxious or bad in social situations, or maybe not neurotypical, you're gonna be horrified by this movie. 'Cause if you have anxieties surrounding those things and you catastrophize, this movie is, imagine if all of your worst anxiety catastrophizing all literally came true and never stopped. What if literally every horrifying, overly anxious, self-analyzing, paranoid thing that you think about yourself, what if it was true, and what if every terrible thing you think about yourself, everyone also thought? That's this movie. Anyway, it's horrifying. Go check it out. It's called Beau is Afraid, starring Joaquin Phoenix, and he's great. He's great. Love me some Joaquin. Blue Sky Drinking, thanks for 4 months. By the way, shout out to Joaquin Phoenix for being one of the only men in Hollywood who isn't married to someone like 30 years younger than him. So that's nice. Good for Joaquin.
You know,
I think he's dating, like, I don't know if they're married or they're dating, but I think he's dating Rooney Mara. There's like a 10-year age difference, but he's like 48 and she's 38. So, like, it's a difference, but they're old enough that it doesn't really matter. Engaged. Oh, good for them. Good for them.
sensitive and, you know.
Thank you for the follow, Navi of Destiny.
It was gold.
Look, listen.
Sounds of Freedom. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it. I seen it last night in Flint. Awesome. It was great. It was awesome. It was a great movie. So tonight, David, and it kind of
Night Zero Iron Wolf. Oh, is the orange boy being bad? Is he in timeout?
Yes.
All right. This is the timeout room for Oliver, because if he attacks his sisters a bunch, he gets put in here until he calms down, which is usually about 10 minutes. Discordant Vole says, not just that, he was a nightmare on the set of Person of Interest, like he would actually hit people in choreographed fights. Wait, who would in Person of Interest? Oh god. Wait. Hold on. Oh, Jim Caviezel. I thought I was about to find out something terrible about Joaquin Phoenix, and I was going to be so sad. Don't do this to me, Joaquin. I can't have another Joker disappoint me so thoroughly.
kind of familiar with what I'm talking about right now. In Davison, Michigan.
Also, side note, I am excited for Joker 2. I think it's going to be good. Of course, it's going to be a while now with all the strikes, and I am happy for that film to disappear into nothingness if it needed to for the strikes, but whenever all this gets resolved, probably an interesting movie. Which Joker disappointed me? Which one, chat? Which one do you think? It's Jared Leto. It's Jared Leto.
There's been sightings of a Greyhound bus. I'm not going to say migrants. I'm not going to say illegals. I'm not going to say undocumented.
Oh my god, did he see a Greyhound bus and he's just spiraling conspiracy theories about undocumented immigrants?
Because I don't know the full details. I'm just basing on what I've heard.
I saw a Greyhound bus, therefore, conspiracy.
Sounds
Wow.
of freedom. That movie was gold. It really touched. I mean, it really got into the depths of what's going on with the human trafficking and child sex.
You weren't disappointed by Jared Leto because my expectations were already low? I'll be honest, I was hoping I was going to be surprised. Like, I think we all saw the like character design on Jared Leto's Joker with the damaged and the tattoos, and everyone made fun of that. I held up hope that there was going to be some sort of meta commentary. I was like, is this supposed to be bad? Like, is this supposed to be some sort of commentary on something? Am I hopefully going to see this movie and it's going to, like, turn out that this has some sort of deeper meaning other than it's just terrible, try-hard, edgy bullshit? No, it was just that. It was just bad.
Trafficking and, stuff like that. It was a great movie.
Older people take Greyhounds to Canada for casinos. That's a thing in Michigan. Oh, yeah. Yep, I've seen that, too.
It really was touchy and, sensitive and, it was gold. Sounds of Freedom. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it.
They wanted his Joker to be a street gang type character. They did a bad job.
Yeah, I've seen it last
They
night
did a
in
really
Flint.
bad job. I understood what they were going for. I think what they were going for was A, bad in concept, and B, also terrible in execution.
Awesome. It was great. It was awesome. It was a great movie. So tonight in David, and it kind of familiar with what I'm talking about right now. In Davison, Michigan, there's been sightings of a Greyhound bus.
Call the media. There have been sightings of a Greyhound bus in Davison, Michigan.
I'm not going to say migrants.
Davison.
I'm not going to say illegals. I'm not going to say undocumented, because I don't know the full details. I'm just basing on what I've heard. Because I haven't seen it myself. I'm just basing on what I've heard. But anyway, there's been a sighting of a Greyhound bus dropping off between 30 and 60 people at a Meijer's parking lot in Davison. And this has happened like once a week for the past several weeks. So tonight in Davison, they're having a town hall meeting on it to figure out what is going on. Rumors are next time you tailgate me, you can take that motorcycle and shove it up your fucking ass.
Very normal guy.
Rumors are,
I've seen... Does this guy literally just go on Facebook and listen to whatever random bullshit things are saying? Like, I saw a bus at Meijer last week and I didn't recognize the people on it. I haven't recognized anyone since 1997. It's gotta be the Democrats bringing in illegals. Nextdoor. Oh my god, the Nextdoor app is... holy shit. Has anyone else used Nextdoor? I'm sure everyone has. Anytime there's any noise ever, 7 people... Was that a gunshot? No. No, it wasn't. And if it was, you're not shot, so... I don't know why you care. Oh... Speaking of the Joker, oh god, what is it?
Which is why he's gonna get that password by impersonating the Joker.
And wait till they get a load of me.
Nice, Nicholson, yo!
Security, what do you want?
My face on the $1 bill.
Yo, let me try my Heath Ledger.
Who is this?
Who am I? I'm an agent of chaos.
Oh, it's you, Joker. I'm so sorry I questioned you.
Relax.
Why so serious?
I just don't want you to fire me.
Oh, I'm not gonna fire you. I'm just gonna hurt you really, really bad.
Wait a second. This isn't the Joker.
What do you think you're doing, bro?
Duh, Jared Leto.
Jared Leto? You can't just put on some tattoos and some fake teeth and make me think that you're some kind of crazy person.
Then no one is buying it.
Your impression is horrible, Robin.
Great! Now I've got to convince these fools I's the Joker by doing my best Mark Hamill.
Listen, you numbskull.
This is the Joker.
Alright, that's good. I've actually never watched that Teen Titans Go show. It's a little too zoomery for me, but that was pretty funny.
what was I talking about? Okay. Yeah, the buses, the Greyhound bus.
I understand why the show got a bad... Well, I'm not saying it's right, but the show definitely coming off the tails of the really beloved Teen Titans sort of like pseudo-anime series. I call it pseudo. You know, it clearly had inspiration from like anime type stuff. And then that show just never got a proper ending. People were salty.
Bus, okay. Rumors.
Watch the Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go movie. Does it actually give an ending to the original Teen Titans? Because that'd be kind of cool. I own the original Teen Titans on Blu-ray. Baja, can I tell them the Teen Titans thing about that one character? If not, that's fine. Just thought I'd ask.
That there's some undocumented people living in the woods around the Davison area. I don't know for sure. I don't know.
It's fine. All right. This is pretty funny. I love this is the kind. Let me be clear. This is not mocking. This is the kind of mistake I've made. This kind of mistake before. Everyone makes this kind of mistake. We all have these little blind spots, and of course, you know, not everyone knows comic things. Anyway, I was talking to Baja at some point about Teen Titans. I don't even remember the context necessarily, but at some point, the question... Well, I even forget the context. Was it that, like, you asked me the question, or did it take a while... Or did you already know at that point, but just mentioned you didn't know that initially? MH Darkbeast says, speaking of the Joker, you need this horrific item. Hold on. Oh, God. Okay, I want to be straight up. This is just like a sex toy for sucking D, right? Like, this is like... There's no reason for this to exist other than some weird fetish thing, right? Like, I'm like really? Like, this is just this is a fetish toy, right? Oh, yeah. Okay. So, I was talking about Teen Titans and said something was related to the comics, and it took you a second. And then Baja was like, wait, is Robin from the Teen Titans Robin from Batman? And that was beautiful.
No, I'm gonna look. I'm doing more depth look into it. So,
I do like the idea that there are just two different fictional character superheroes named Robin that wear like the same outfit and have the same skill set and also throw batarangs. No, I really do want to watch Teen Titans again though. I actually watched the first season of that live-action Titans show, and I enjoyed it. It was campy. I enjoyed it. Is that wrong? Is it wrong that I found it funny and tongue-in-cheek to watch Dick Grayson say, "Fuck Batman"?
So I did a little research on myself. Dave Bondi, he did a video on it on TikTok, I believe. He was talking about it. Dave Bondi, pretty famous independent investigative journalist like me.
Rob, you're not a journalist. I'm not a journalist. None of this is journalism. You're shit posting. Old Enough to Know Better Now says, fair warning though, it goes off the rails in later seasons. Hard. That doesn't surprise me.
I'm more low-key, but, you know, I'm more Michigan, you know, stuff. I go around and investigate stuff. I've been to school board meetings, I've been to rallies, I've been to protests, I've been to town
Going places and being an asshole isn't investigating something.
hall meetings. You know, I've interviewed people, I've done all kinds of investigative work here. And
if you keep posting the same thing off topic on a day that's not about it, you're gonna get banned. Seriously. I didn't not see what you said. This is the last thing I'm saying about it today. The next time we're doing a thing about the stock thing is probably Tuesday. You're not gonna bait me into something about this that's not what today's about. So move on, or you're gonna get banned. Because you're clearly trying to bait right now.
state of Michigan and outside of Michigan, doing my own investigative journalist type thing. So I did a little research on Davison. If you don't know where Davison's at, it's in Genesee County. It's just 10 minutes, 15 minutes east of Flint, off the 69. So I looked into the mayor, Tim Joseph, or not, no, Bishop. Tim, not Joseph, Bishop. Ugh. Tim Bishop. Tim Bishop, the mayor of Davison. Don't know much about him. So I decided to do a little research on Tim Bishop. See what kind of mayor he is. Oh boy. I'll just put it this way. If you run a business, a restaurant, whatever the hell you do, it's not a wise business decision to put on your business page on Facebook that you are going to violate people's Fourth Amendment right to check to see if they're from a certain city in Michigan.
Okay, so I'm assuming this town hall was having issues. I imagine a lot of town halls are having issues where random right-wing assholes with nothing better to do are driving in from places elsewhere and coming to town hall meetings in towns they're not from. That makes sense why you would check an ID. You're not from that town. Why are you in that town hall meeting? Get the fuck out. Honestly, I wouldn't even mind if that was just standard policy. Don't get me wrong. I think we should have, first, before we do anything like that, some kind of, like, free state-issued ID that anyone can get with no hassle, or as little hassle as possible. But yeah, especially with so many right-wing shitbags going to random school board meetings and local meetings and stirring up shit, spreading conspiracy theories, makes sense. Makes sense to check IDs.
The mayor of Davison runs a...
And it's funny, too, because he's not even, like... They were right! You aren't from that town. You're mad you got caught doing the thing you were doing. Are you gonna pretend that the thing they were doing wasn't literally intended to prevent you from doing the thing you were doing, and it worked?
Hot dog restaurant or something. He had one in Flint, at Flint Market. He pulled it out in April. Now he has one in Davison. He put on his Facebook, there was some kind of feud with some guy named Arthur something on Facebook. I seen some messages. This Arthur guy from Flint accused me of being a racist. I don't know the full details. But he went to the Davison Township, I think, and filed a complaint. There's Davison City and there's Davison Township. Okay, let me clarify that. It's sort of like where I grew up. I grew up in Independence Township. I went to Clarkston schools.
Avoid Clarkston schools, apparently, if you're having kids and looking for someplace to live.
Is a village within Independence Town.
Alright, last warning. Last warning.
Township. Clarkston has their own police department. Independence Township has Oakland County Sheriff's Department. Well, that's the same thing with Davison. Davison has Davison Police. Davison Township has Genesee County Sheriff's Department patrolling that area. So, like I said.
What was that yell? So,
like I said. So the mayor of Davison, he runs a hot dog stand or a hot dog whatever, restaurant, whatever. He put on his Facebook page, there was some kind of feud on Facebook. I don't know the details. I just skimmed through it a bit. But he put right on his Facebook page that he was going to check IDs to see if anybody was from Flint. And he wasn't going to allow anybody from Flint at his restaurant. Or
I don't even know what this is about.
Hot dog stand. Number one, that's a violation of the Fourth Amendment.
No, it's not, you dumb cunt. What? The Fourth Amendment says that you are safe in your person's papers and possessions from the government doing unreasonable search and seizure. A business owner can absolutely say in their private business, even if they happen to also work in the government, in their private business they could say, hey, my business is only for people from anywhere but this one city, and then they can ask to see your ID. You're not forced to show them your ID. You don't have a right to go to this person's restaurant. Not being from a certain city isn't a protected class. If you want to make it one, fine. If we want to go all or nothing on this, fine. Are we going to say no one can ever refuse service to anyone for any reason? Whatever. Sure, fine. But that's not where we are. Legally, that is not where we are. Private business owners, yes, can say, I want to see your ID, and if you're from a specific city, I'm not going to serve you. It's not a protected class. It's not a thing. Oh.
Checking IDs. That's what Costco does. Checking IDs at self-checkout. That's why I don't shop at Costco anymore. I took my card, I ripped it up. Fuck Costco.
Oh, you're fine, Baja. He was trying to bait me anyway.
Checking IDs at the fucking register. Fuck you.
Have a fun Tuesday, whoever that was.
Okay, so, and then I was combing through social media on Davison Mayor Tim Bishop. Oh, he also told somebody that if you're not from Davison, you're not welcome at the public meeting.
Yeah, it's a town hall meeting. It's for people in the town. It's for people in the town? I'm curious how he would feel if there was like a rural city hall meeting to take some vote and a bunch of people from the city showed up and voted or talked about things irrelevant to what the people in that community felt.
That's a violation of the Public Meetings Act, Act 376 of 1976 of the Michigan Constitution, asshole. This fucking mayor doesn't even know the fucking law. Why is this guy mayor if he doesn't know the Constitution, if he doesn't know the law? If he doesn't...
So far he's keeping Rob out of a meeting that he has nothing to do with in a town he doesn't live in. So far I'm cool with whatever that is. Good job, Mayor. What's your face? Don't know if you're okay otherwise, but that seems to be working.
The Opens Meeting Act. Why is he fucking mayor?
Probably because he won an election. That's usually how that works.
That's the first question. Why do you vote for this douchebag?
Has Raging Rob ever been on the news? Not yet.
Shiawassee County. Hey, bitch, I'm going to the Davison Open Meeting tonight. July 10th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. at Davison Missionary Church. The meeting is regarding a Greyhound bus dropping off, I don't want to say migrants, I don't want to say illegals, I don't want to say undocumented because I don't know the full details. Dropping off people.
I don't know the full details, but I know it's suspicious and people I don't like.
At a Meijer's. That's what the meeting's about. Do your research, check out Dave Bundy.
The name of the store is Meijer, by the way. Not Meijer's. Meijer.
The Davison mayor, I'm not too fond of the guy. After what I found on fucking Facebook. And I damn sure ain't gonna buy a fucking hot dog from him.
That's a shame. I think you could have put his kids through college.
Gonna run a business like that. I'm Raging Rob. I'll see you at the meeting tonight. Peace!
Oh my god, so angry. So angry. What do I think of seeing Logan in costume? It's cool. Movie will probably be funny. I like the Deadpool movies. For people who asked, by the way, the arms are because, typically Wolverine doesn't have sleeves. They didn't change it just cause, Hugh Jackman has a skin condition that leaves him very prone to skin cancer, so they made it so he would be covered because filming, like, with bare arms constantly in the sun would be a danger to him. So, while it is a change from the comics, I don't mind. It's for the safety of a human being, and that's takes priority over comic book bullshit. So no one complain about that, because there's a reason. Anyway. Oh my god, he's at the Michigan.
What's going on?
Or at the Michigan. He's at the Meijer.
Everybody get the Raging Rob here. I'm here in Davison, Michigan. I'm here at the Meijer's in Davison, Michigan.
Guys, he thinks he's doing investigative journalism. Holy fucking shit. Hydrate.
I just got out of a town hall meeting just a little while ago, probably about a half an hour ago. If you don't know what's happening here in Davison, there's been reports of a bus
Is there a possibility I could run into this guy? I mean, as much as I could run into anyone who's regularly in Michigan. He travels around, so it's possible, but again, it's, you know, We would have to be in the same place at the same time, you know? Statistically, probably not super likely, but it's not impossible either.
Coming up here.
Most likely, if I ever saw him, it would be at some sort of event. Like, he sometimes goes to, like, pride events or things to protest them. So the most likely place I would probably see him would be, like, if I was at some sort of pride event or something like that and he was protesting. Or some other political thing. I don't think I just run into him at the store or anything. That's pretty unlikely. Baja with a link about this whole situation. Davison Township residents expressed concern over Greyhound bus stop. A Board of Trustees meeting in Davison Township turned heated at times Monday as residents expressed concerns about a Greyhound bus stop at Meijer store on Lapeer Road. Is it literally just Greyhound paid Meijer to have a bus stop here? Is it literally just that Meijer is renting a part of their parking lot to Greyhound so that people can, like, get picked up and dropped off here? And all these fucking conspiracy idiots are like, oh my god, a bus! My brain basically only works on word association buzzword garbage, so I hear bus and I think illegal immigrant, because I'm a fucking idiot. It's an official Michigan Department of Transportation carpool lot. Oh my god! Oh. The Republicans' move to sabotage public education ever since Brown versus the Board of Education has absolutely fucking devastated this country to its core. The agenda for Monday's meeting indicated that Greyhound was dropping off busloads of, quote, transients, homeless, and otherwise unattached people at Meijer once a week. I'm assuming that's perceived on the part of busybody assholes. Oh my god, people who use collective transportation? I don't even know what to call it. Like, it's not public transportation. You gotta pay to use a Greyhound bus. It's like, you know, buying a plane ticket, but if you have less money, or if you don't like planes. Jesus Christ. A large audience turned out for the meeting to raise concerns during the public comment period. The crowd was so large that the meeting was moved to Davison Missionary Church at Gale and Davidson Roads. Many people raised concerns about the activity in that area during public comment. However, opinion about the bus stop at the Michigan Department of Transportation carpool lot outside Meijer varied. Davison Township Clerk Michael Leffler said the MDOT parking area outside Meijer is an official Greyhound stop. Davidson's Meijer parking lot is the official bus stop for Greyhound in Flint. If you got a ticket from San Antonio to Flint, you're getting bused to Meijer parking lot in Davison, he said. Greyhound confirmed the MDOT carpool lot at Meijer is a regular stop. The company says only passengers with a ticket can board the bus, meaning no one is being dropped off. Greyhound added that the stop outside the Davison Township Meijer will be moving on Wednesday to another MDOT carpool lot elsewhere in the Flint area. So literally, they had to change where they literally did loading and unloading of passengers for their fucking private bus business. Because a bunch of conspiratorial right-wing assholes got into some sort of fucking frenzy. Had a mass hysteria about, oh my god, people on buses. The Fox News people told me that means I'm gonna get SA'd by people who don't look like me. Fucking busybody pieces of shit. It's a planned stop to stretch legs until they go to the actual end stop. Oh my god, so it's literally not even where it's literally just where they, like, go. Anyone who's been on a charter bus knows that there are times where there are scheduled stops where everyone gets out and can use the bathroom and maybe pick up some snacks or drinks or whatever. People are the dumbest. I hate humans.
They said about midnight. From what I understanding, what I've heard from Dave Bundy, it was once a week. I went to the town hall meeting today in Davison, and I'm hearing reports that it's happening several times a week, and sometimes 40, 50 people getting off the bus.
Buses do have a lot of people in them. That's what buses are for, to transport many people on the public highways.
Several times a week here.
Yeah. Greyhound is running a bus service.
At this Meijer's behind me. This is in Davison, Michigan. So it's about 10 o'clock at night right now. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to scope it out until I find a bus, and then I'm going to document. I went to the town hall meeting in Davison tonight, and if you don't know what's going on, like I said, Greyhound is compliant. And the chief of police, well, until Meijer's calls, you know, private property, whatever, the police can't do shit. Basically, the police got their hands tied behind their back.
They're not doing anything illegal! What do you... Just use the police to go stop someone doing a thing that I don't understand, but it makes me uncomfortable because a bunch of other Cletus-ass rubes around me decided to get suspicious about things we don't understand. Oh my god. These people think like children! These people think like suspicious, angry children!
So, I believe that Meijer's and Greyhound Bus is compliant in human trafficking.
What? This accidentally became Tinfoil Tuesday. Shit.
I can't prove it. But
I can't prove it, but I have an emotion. Aren't these the people who have, like, historically been like, facts don't care about your feelings, and now they're just, like, rambling? Speedy Yoshi says, hey, don't insult children like that. Have you seen It? Kids can be awesome. I talked about this with my wife somewhat recently, but it feels like in the last 5 or 6 years, conspiratorial thinking has broken down. And what I mean by that, as someone who's done this for a while, this is strictly anecdotal, but I feel like 4 or 5 years ago when I was doing Tinfoil Tuesday and we were covering things, conspiracies had more structure to them. There was at least a rhetorical imperative to appear to have internal consistency, or appear to follow some sort of logical train of thought, even if the initial premises are wrong. You know what I mean? It felt like they were trying to at least imitate reasonability, imitate logical rhetoric. It was poor, which is why you can point out wrong things and why you can debunk conspiracy theories. But it feels like, especially after QAnon came around and absolutely changed the conspiracy game. QAnon fundamentally changed how conspiracy theories are constructed if someone is doing so whole cloth in order to try and convince a bunch of vulnerable, gullible people on the internet of something. I'm talking about, like, right-wing provocateurs who try and spread misinformation through conspiracy theory in order to get their voter base riled up, right? They learned something through QAnon, and that is, you catch more conspiracy theorists in on your conspiracy theory, the less specific you are. If you have a very complicated lore for your conspiracy theory that's, like, written in stone, people will point out you're wrong. What you have done is made what you're saying falsifiable, because you've made some sort of material statement about what you believe about reality based on some sort of premise, or some sort of what you consider evidence, right? But it's like they figured out after QAnon, the Q posts are vague nonsense. I've shown you guys these before. They don't make definitive statements often, as much as they primarily ask questions. Right? We're no longer in the realm of saying, this is a thing that's happening, this is what I believe, therefore conspiracy, which you can point out the wrong things in. We are now in the realm of, why did the Titanic sink? Who was on the Titanic? What did the Titanic blah 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 blah. We're just asking questions. I just don't feel like things are right. Something's happening. Bad things are happening. I feel it. Everyone feels it. And I think a lot of people picked up on this. Consciously for some people who intentionally use this sort of rhetoric in order to move conspiratorially minded political actors. But then you also have people like Rob, who probably don't even consciously understand that they have moved into this direction. It's not even about reality. Reality has always been the enemy of conservative thought, but I don't think they have ever been in more direct opposition than they are today in our political climate in the United States. There is like 30 to 40% of the population that outright refuses reality because it doesn't suit their worldview. I have heard people effectively say this. Reality does not conform to their preconceptions and the things they believe and want to believe about the world, but they are also incapable of having any sort of self-reflection or change, so instead, reality becomes mutable to them. Not really, of course. At the end of the day, reality's reality, and that's why a lot of these people end up in trouble, right? When the rubber hits the road, at some point, your actions, if not dictated by an accurate understanding of your surroundings, are going to cause you to make mistakes, are going to cause you to make poor judgments. It's unsustainable. But nonetheless, it allows these people for some indeterminate amount of time to maintain whatever false beliefs and worldviews they held and hold that are in conflict with reality. Reality itself is the enemy, so it's no longer even evidence. It's just, things don't feel right. No, that's evidence that says that the thing I believe is wrong. No. No. To evidence. No. Not even an attempt at a rebuttal, not an attempt at rhetorically convincing others. Just no. The walls are up. I believe the thing I believe. I'm not in any sort of discussion about what is actually right or wrong. I believe the things I believe are true, and anything you say otherwise is false, and you are my enemy and trying to trick me if you say otherwise. Facts were always already tenuous for conservatives and used as more of a rhetorical tool, but it's like they don't even see them as a rhetorical tool anymore. They are nothing but a hindrance to them. And it's not good. It's not good. You can't have people this detached from reality and have this be like 30% of society and not have things break down. Socially, economically, like you just cannot have this many people rejecting reality. Mike Max says, I thought the new suit was based on the Uncanny X-Men suit, but at least they cared about his health. Let me look. I would imagine they got some inspiration from that as well, but I think the primary motivator for the long sleeves was his condition. Logarth says, the writer's strike also affected conspiracy theories. Feels like it. Fennikagami says, and this new conspiracy thought feeds on mental illness more than the old way. Yeah. It's not good.
But I'm going to stake this Meijer's out every fucking night until I...
Discordant Vol says it's a power flex of fascism. They're trying to reshape reality through sheer force of will, and when that fails, nihilism is inevitable.
See a bus, and then I'm going to go from there. I'm going to take some video, and then I'm going to go from there. I'm going to get to the bottom of it. So there's been people talking about coming up here tomorrow morning and bitching and talking to the manager and blah, 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 blah. But if Meijer's is compliant in human trafficking with Greyhound bus...
Listen to this man! If Meijer, which for those not from Michigan, basically just Walmart but with a union, so it's better. If Meijer is working with Greyhound bus to human traffic people... This is an adult person with a job. He votes, he is politically active. He goes to events, he goes to town hall meetings in towns he isn't even living in.
Okay. What good is it gonna do? You know, to talk to Meijer's. Like I said, this is the Meijer's in Davison, Michigan. It's been all over the news. There's crap happening here. There's been reports of buses coming in here midnight,
It's Greyhound bus.
Whatever, 1 o'clock, dropping people off. They don't know where these people are coming from.
You could check the bus itinerary. It's Greyhound. They have a website.
I was just at the town hall meeting and it was filled. The room was filled. Check out my other videos on my YouTube channel. It was filled. It was inside of a church. And at least 3 people testified that they've had their houses broken into.
So a bunch of busybody assholes who maybe had a break and enter are blaming random people on Greyhound buses that have nothing to do with the situation because they are also idiots that don't understand the difference between correlation and causation. Wow.
One woman said she had her house ransacked. One woman was almost in tears describing how it's her 7-year-old, and her husband, and she lives a mile down the road.
I'm sorry that these people got their houses broken into. It has nothing to do with the Greyhound bus. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. These people see some sort of real issue, crime, whatever, happening potentially because people are desperate or poor. Maybe they're addicted to drugs or something and they're looking for stuff to sell so that they can get drugs. Serious social ills that have a real cause that we understand. We know why crime happens. Don't get me wrong, there are some very few people who are just like psychopaths. The vast majority of crime is not because people are fucking evil and want to hurt people. The vast majority of theft happens because people are desperate and need money to live, and they feel they have no other choice. But instead of seeing that and going, okay, that was scary, of course that's scary, and I'm not trying to downplay that they were in a situation that is horrifying to them. I understand that. People who are desperate enough to break into someone's house can also be desperate enough to hurt people, but primarily I think most break-and-enters are for property, not necessarily to hurt you. But again, I'm not trying to downplay the fear. Anyone going into your home, I get it, that's traumatizing. Not trying to downplay that. But instead of actually appraising this situation as a whole and saying, here's what happened, the house is broken into, this is awful, do we have insurance, what's the cause of this, and recognizing that in any society, especially one that doesn't help struggling people, criminalizes addiction, stuff like that, crime's gonna happen. Like, it's gonna happen. Especially when you keep people desperate with nothing else to do. So instead of even taking this in and thinking about it, even not deciding to do anything about it, but just recognizing the reality of the situation, that's too complicated. And maybe it even flies in the face of their worldview. Maybe they don't want to think that. Maybe they think some people are just criminals because they're bad people. Right? Again, black and white conspiratorial paranoid thinking. So instead of being able to look at some sort of systemic problem that they could chip away at, they go, no, what else is going around me that's weird? I don't know, buses. I've seen buses lately. Buses. I've seen on Fox News that buses sometimes have brown people from other countries, and I don't like that. And I've been told brown people from other countries do crime. And a crime happened to me, and there's buses, and buses sometimes bring brown crime people, says Fox News. So it must be the buses. If I stop the buses, I'll stop the crime. It's the thinking of a delusional child. Like, this is insanity, but this is how these people are thinking. They are incapable of accurately appraising situations around them, so their material reality will continue to get worse. Because they don't even know what is happening to them. They don't know what society is. Discordant Vole says, every piece of evidence, every contradictory evidence is a sign of the validity of their conspiracy. They are already reached their conclusion and they're working backwards. First name Bunch of Numbers says, at first I was annoyed that Greyhound is moving the stop in response to this because the assholes will feel like they've won, but actually I'm really glad it means Rob will be wasting his time sitting in a parking lot and not getting an opportunity to harass randos for riding the bus. Agreed. And also safety of the passengers. Genuinely. Look at this. Look at this. Come on. People like this are nuts. It is not outside of the realm of possibility to imagine one of these crazy conspiratorial people who also tend to be gun nuts, who believe that is their right in the Constitution to take arms up against anything they consider to be a violation of what they perceive their rights to be, which often is really just hurting other people, is what they perceive their rights to be in many cases. In this case, I can imagine some unhinged one of these people being like, oh, that bus stop at that supermarket? ... ellipses, you know what happens next because we live in America?
They're not staying here at Meijer's. Whoever's being dropped off here, they're going wherever. They're not staying here at Meijer's. They got a couple of parks where kids roam around, and there's an elementary school.
You gonna pretend you give a shit about kids, Rob?
Cool. Like quarter mile down the road from here. So allegedly I found out at the town hall meeting that allegedly this is...
Mike Max said, at this point we end up in a Demolition Man world or an Idiocracy world. And then Discordant Vol says, it's a short trip from I'm watching these buses to I'm pretty sure... I can't even read the rest of that.
Is the Flint bus...
I understand what you're saying.
Stop now.
But I'm not going to read it.
There's, there is a Greyhound bus in downtown Flint. I know that. I've been there when I was... my trucking years, many years ago. I took a bus out of there to...
Wait a minute. So you understand that people use buses, and buses are not synonymous with human trafficking because you were on a bus. I've taken charter buses before.
Columbus, Ohio.
Like, who do they think the primary users of buses are?
For a trucking job when I was like 21 years old, back in 2004.
Like, I'm gonna be real. If Greyhound or anyone was complicit in some sort of human trafficking scheme at large scale, I don't think you'd use Greyhound buses. Like, you care that much about your quote-unquote human trafficking victims that you gave them TVs to watch things on the bus ride? Like, what? It's a Greyhound bus. It's not some sort of dystopian, like, fucking cattle car. It's literally a charter bus they paid to get on to take them somewhere. Discordant Vol says, the point I'm reaching is that these people are really close to letting the intrusive thoughts win. Yep. Many let them win every day. You know how, like, when water boils, all the water doesn't immediately vaporize. The stuff at the top steams off. We're in the place where things are boiling, and the ones at the top of the crazy boil are boiling off and vaporizing in quite spectacularly horrifying ways. Peacockosaur says, bloody commies, take buses, real Americans drive a pickup car.
I don't know, I haven't been there in years, I don't know if even know if it's active. I think the last time I've been there was about a year ago, and it was active, but there's also been reports of Indian Trails. I think Greyhound bought out Indian Trails, I can't be 100% sure, but allegedly...
The bus company. For a second, I thought he was literally talking about some sort of, like, indigenous trail system, and I was like, holy fuck, what is he talking about?
Allegedly, there's people, this is according to what I've heard in the town hall meeting, that people are buying tickets in Las Vegas, San Antonio, Dallas, El Paso. I heard something about Phoenix.
Yes, it's a bus! It's a fucking bus stop!
And they're told Flint, Michigan, and they're dropped off here.
It's a stop to get snacks and pee. You obtuse, dense motherfucker. Fenikagami says, thankfully, not all conservatives are like this. There are some who are open to changing their minds. My 84-year-old grandmother voted Democrat for the first time in 60 years because of Trump, and Republican mom has been moving her positions and becoming more accepting of queer people. Good luck with that, and hope that continues.
And on her ticket it says Flint.
Guys, one time, My school hired a charter bus. I don't remember if it was Greyhound or a different company, but they hired a charter bus, and our tickets said Washington, D.C., but several times they stopped the bus at a place they called rest stops, and they human trafficked us to those rest stops where we used money to buy candy and snacks that would make us ill because we were middle schoolers on a bus with no parental supervision, or very little parental supervision. The horror when we had to stop at these rest stops even though our ticket said Washington, D.C., and buy candy and Pringles and soda and pee. Getting rid of pee, not buying pee. We had enough pee. Pterodona says it's clear he has no clue of what Greyhound does. No, he does not.
So
it's like he thinks it works like an airplane. Like, I understand that, like, unless you literally have a layover, like, planes don't just stop in the middle, you know, and go like, all right, everyone, get off to stretch your legs, because it's a plane. Planes are in the sky. It takes a while to get them to go up and go down. That's kind of the most intensive part of flying, is the takeoff and the landing. So you're not throwing in random ones for no reason. It's not economical. It's not really something anyone wants to do. Buses aren't like that. Buses don't need to climb tens of thousands of feet. Buses are buses. They have wheels on the ground. You can pull off to rest stops and let people pee and do stuff. That's normal.
Well, the people believe they're in Flint when they're not told they're in Davison.
You're such a dumb motherfucker. I cannot... Rage and Rob, I know he subscribes to my channel on YouTube. Multiple of his channels are subscribed to me, because I can see who's subscribed to me on YouTube. Rob, let me be clear about something. You called yourself an investigative journalist earlier in this. You are not smart enough to be a journalist. You are not smart enough to do human interest stories. You are not smart enough to write a press release for the simplest product in the world. You don't know what you're doing. You are unable to take accurate appraisals of the situations around you. You are ignorant, paranoid, angry. You have no idea what's going on in the world, and you should not in any way think you are capable of finding things out and expressing it to others. You are incompetent. You are insane. Please stop trying to do whatever you're doing. You have a very small audience in the first place. It makes you look foolish. Please go and literally read any book that is not the Bible. Read a fucking book. Hey, how about this? Read Greyhound's website. You don't even need to read a book. Go to Greyhound's website and figure out how buses work. Casual Snark says, "My God, man, if you're spoiling for a fight in Michigan, there are Republicans in Clare." DM Trey says, "Yes, comrades," and there's some kind of... A 10-day UPS strike would cost the economy more than $7 billion and be the costliest work stoppage in at least a century. Do it. Lord fucking Sidious, do it. Do it. Fennikagami says, "Hopefully moving mom over more to the left does go well. I have to live with my mom for the foreseeable future for financial reasons. I wish you luck then."
And one person brought it up that isn't that fraud by Greyhound Bus?
No, it's not. It is a stop. It's a stop.
You bet so. And
you bet so. He's a legal genius on fraud now too. Wow.
Just
isn't that corrupt?
Keep in mind.
Isn't that illegal?
If you've been watching me on social media for a while, when I had my Dodge Charger, my engine blew in Pennsylvania, and I had to get a Greyhound bus from Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Wait a minute, are you telling me that people buy tickets to Greyhound buses voluntarily and it isn't a business based around illegally trafficking people against their will?
Back to Flint.
Sent something in Twitter DMs for Rob's benefit. Let me take a look. Let me turn the screen off real quick. I don't know what's there. There it is. Oh, you can't see. Hold on. Davidson, Michigan. Flint suburbs. It says so at the top. Hold on, let me move this down so you can see it. Flint suburbs. Davison, Michigan. What a brilliant, brilliant man.
But the bus canceled. I was stranded on the street until 2 o'clock in the morning. And I finally got an Uber ride from Allentown to Harrisburg, which is...
Wait a minute. You were trafficked by Uber? You poor man.
A couple-hour drive. Paid over $100 for an Uber. And I was still stranded at that Greyhound bus station till 7 a.m. And I issued a refund to Greyhound. And Greyhound, this happened in September of 2022. We are now in July 2023. And Greyhound still has not given me my $236 back.
Is this whole conspiracy so at the forefront of his mind because literally he's mad at Greyhound for not giving him some kind of... Oh my god. This is entirely because they wouldn't give him a refund, so now he's like, I don't like them personally because I didn't get a refund for my unsatisfying trip. So now I'm perfectly okay believing with no evidence that they're human trafficking. Holy shit.
Greyhound owes me $236. They refused to refund me. So
take him to small claims court. If you genuinely think you're owed that, then do that.
I boycotted Greyhound back then.
I boycotted Greyhound. Okay, so you understand it's a bus company then and not a human trafficking front. People take their buses.
Eventually got to rent a car out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and went back to Michigan. This is back when my Dodge Charger blew in Pennsylvania. So if I did ride the bus to Flint, would I got dropped off here? I don't know. But I mean, I found out a lot of shit in the town hall meeting tonight. Sounds like Greyhound and Meijer have a contract together and they're compliant with something going on. Whatever it's human traffic.
Complicit? I know he said that earlier, but I didn't correct it. Complicit is the word you're thinking of, Rob.
Whether it's...
And they're not complicit because nothing illicit is happening. It would need to be illicit for them to be complicit in some sort of illicit activity, but they're not. They're just operating a business completely legally. Like, really take a step back here and think where we are. The brainworms in our society are so bad that I make a living just investigating these people, and we are taking time out of our day to listen to an insane man rant about perceived human trafficking by Greyhound buses in a supermarket parking lot, primarily motivated by the fact that they didn't give him a refund when he was unsatisfied with his bus trip. When stuff like this happens, a lot, I've been thinking about this sketch from, there's a particular line from this sketch from I Think You Should Leave that I've been thinking a lot lately in my head. When something really fucking crazy happens and I see someone doing something crazy, or I have to think about something fucked up about society, I think about a particular line from this sketch. So let's just watch it. I'll have to cut this out for YouTube, but it's fine.
Stores can be a problem.
I was working.
I thought I was gonna get eaten! I'm not a...
Here's the link for this video if you want it. Logard says, he's very, very well may have. Pigs will eat people if they don't move too much. That's horrifying. Okay, so... to be clear, when I say they in that statement. I'm not saying a conspiratorial cabal. No, we're very anti-conspiracy theory here. But I think that clip encapsulates that society, again, society isn't built by any individual or even one group of individuals. However, largely we can see that society is built upon a series of incentive structures that have enriched some people but harmed everyone else and made us live a way of life that, like, has fundamentally fucked our brains. Like, we're all ruined. We are ruined as beings. It feels like the mental health crises in the United States and abroad are largely because of, holy shit, man, this is fucked. Why are we okay with this? Like, just to be clear, and I know, I'm not trying to be a pretentious fucking online leftist who's just like, oh, like, here's, like, simple solutions to our complicated problems. I understand. I know that there aren't easy solutions to problems. I'm not saying I have any solutions to problems. But for most of human history, you could kind of explain starvation and homelessness and just, like, stuff like that by, on some level, saying, like, hey, you know, that sucks, but there's only so much to go around. There isn't enough for everyone. That stopped being true some time ago, and I really think collectively we have not thought about that and have not come to terms with what that means. If we wanted to, and again, I understand that this in and of itself is a really complex issue of, like, people have incentive structures where they don't care about other people necessarily. They're selfish people. I am saying materially, beyond assholes and selfish people. Let me be clear. We could structure society in a way where people had food and at minimum had a roof over their heads and weren't afraid they were gonna die in the streets at night because they're cold. Like, just period. End of. We could do that. We could have a world where, like, oh, like, maybe there would even be some kind of, like, hierarchy, but, like, the floor would be higher. You're starving? Please, come here and get some food so you at least don't starve, and let's find a way for you to become, like, productive for society or productive for yourself in some way. We don't do that. That's not our priority as a species, apparently. We would rather be in conflict with ourselves continually and fighting each other for already abundant resources, instead of just getting to the point where we try and make the lives of everyone better. I just don't understand. I don't get it.
You know,
long story short, Rob's fucked and is harmful to not only himself but society as a whole. But he, like everyone else, is also a victim of the fucked up world we live in. The constructive poverty. It's bad. It's bad, people. It's so bad.
It's found an empty trailer on the other side of that building. I'm going to show you where it's at. On the other side of the building there, I took pictures of it. There's an empty trailer.
Wow, someone has an empty trailer in a parking lot? Fucking crazy.
DOT tag, no numbers, no company, nothing. Just sitting back there. I got the plate number. It's a Michigan plate on it. Empty trailer. No company name on it. No DOT number. No nothing. It looks like a fake license plate. And it's sitting behind a store right now. Right?
Rob, expert of real and fake license plates.
Now. And there's a bunch of trailers in the docks with company names and DOT numbers on it. They have an empty trailer back there. No numbers, no company, no...
Just Belmont, thanks for 22 months, says, oh no, an empty trailer. The deep state is spying on Walmart,
DOT
Lowe's.
Number, no nothing. Something's going on here at the Davison Meijers. here in Davison, Michigan. So I'm going to stake it out, and if I see anything, there will be more videos. And if I lose my channel, I'll lose my channel, because I'm probably gonna post a video that YouTube and TikTok or whatever won't like, because it goes against the liberal agenda.
First of all, you're not that important. Not enough people watch you to get your video reported necessarily. Secondly, you're being stupid here, but you didn't do anything TOS breaking as far as I know. You're an idiot, but like, you can keep this up, and I assume you will. That's fine. It's not against TOS to be stupid.
Well, we can't have that showing to people on social media. I'm going to show it, and I'm going to post it. Okay? I'm going to get to the bottom of it. Nobody wants to get to the bottom of it. Nobody wants to come here to the Meijers in Davison, Michigan.
There's no bottom to get to. It's a Greyhound bus and they stop here. That's the totality of what is happening. That's it. Front to back cover. All the way through. That's it. First name bunch number says, as a trucker, it sounds like that's an old trailer that's being used as storage. It's common for big companies with space in their parking lots to use old broken trailers as extra storage space. You can even let the registration lapse because it's parked on private property.
And find out what the fuck's going on? I will.
Yeah, some stores do allow overnight parking too. Walmart, for instance, does. If you have like an RV or whatever, or if you're a trucker, they're cool with you like parking there overnight. I think the idea is that they expect that if you want a snack or anything, or you want food, you'll come in and spend money.
This is Raging Rob.
So I guess that's good advice. If you ever need to, like, be in your car overnight for any reason, first of all, be safe. Make sure everything's locked and, you know, general safety things. But Walmart parking lot, under some lights, maybe around some employee vehicles as well, might not be a bad place to do it.
When your government becomes...
It's just, I'm sure there are cameras and things.
How do I say this? When your government doesn't listen to you...
Yeah, I guess it depends on the Walmart, I guess. So check their policies.
When your government doesn't listen to you anymore, and they can't protect you anymore, and they make sorry-ass excuses... The chief of police was up there in the board meeting. Well, our hands are tied behind our back, and we're doing what we can. Until Meijer's calls the police and trespasses people from the property, we can't do nothing.
Because there's nothing to do. Nothing wrong is happening. Nothing wrong has happened. It's like, how do I put this? Okay, imagine a society of cats that lives in your house. Imagine you have a bunch of cats that live in your house, right? And let's say you as the owner are the stand-in for the police. So let's say our cats here in this house are a little society, and for instance, they'll see the mailman, right? The mailman will come up on the porch and put mail in the mailbox, because that's the mailman's job. The cats don't know that, though, because they're cats, and they're dumb relative to humans, you know? So let's say the cats came up with a conspiracy theory, and they have a town meeting, and I'm invited as the sheriff of the house, and these cats are like, there's this guy, he's coming up on the porch really suspiciously every day, we don't know what to do, Am I going to try to explain to a bunch of cats? He's the mailman, that's his job, we have a thing called the postal system. By the way, do I need to explain government to you? You're cats. Do I need to explain how this works to you? Instead, maybe I'll just be like, I'll look into it. It's not my job to explain to crazy people, dumb people, or cats why their conspiracies are nonsense. You're lucky to get the placation. People are allowed to just tell you you're fucking dumb and to fuck off. That's what I do. At least a lot of the time.
Basically, when your government doesn't work for you anymore, you abolish it.
The government works for the majority of the people in Michigan. We had a whole election over it. Your politicians that you back just lost. If you would like to win and have things that you believe in pushed in government, then you need to win elections fairly. Good luck. Or move to Florida. Move to Florida.
What's the first 3 words of the U.S. Constitution?
We the people? We the people of the United... Yeah. We are also the people. I'm a people. I live in Michigan. I think you're a dumbass. There are more people like me than there are like you. That's why we won the election and control all 3 branches of government in Michigan right now. Go away. Or, even this, have more reasonable things to want. I'm not just categorically against Rob as a human being. His ideas are bad. He's a conspiracy theorist and crazy. If he had good things to say, if he had smart policies, great, I'm on board. But I think fundamentally a lot of these people don't get it. If you want your ideologies to be furthered in society, they need to be ideas that are popular and other people like, not just people in your small rural communities.
The people. When your government doesn't work anymore, you abolish the government. It's now we the people.
Abolish the government. Gnome Pickle says conservatives tend to do better when less people are allowed to vote. Funny that.
Well, look what's going on in France. The people have taken over, and they're taking their streets back.
I don't think the French people who are doing that would like you very much, Rob.
This holding up a sign and screaming on a bullhorn at buildings, it no longer works. If you're not willing...
Oh, Rob, it's never worked.
...to do this, to take your country back, I'm sorry. What makes a patriot? You do. You make a patriot. Be that patriot. Take your country back, people. Something's going on here at Meijer's in Davison, Michigan. Something's going on here. And I'm going to get to the bottom of it. Maybe. Hopefully. I'll come up here every night and find out what the fuck's going on. I'm Raging Rob. Check out my other videos. I'm out.
Whew, I'm getting warm. I'm glad we're going to the beach in a little bit. Actually, we're supposed to be there soonish. So probably, I think we're supposed to be there at like 3:30, so probably in 10 minutes I'll call it a night. If I had the gas. That's what I'm thinking, at least. Bella Lagozzi with 6 months says something is going on at Meijer. The chicken is 50% off. And that's what I call a loss leader. Oh my god, guys, they're trafficking chickens through the supermarkets and selling them to people as food. Rotisserie chicken is chicken! It's like Soylent Green, but stupider. What are we gonna do for the last 10 minutes as a cleanse? How about some I've been watching Doctor Who clips. What's a fun Doctor Who clip? Or an interesting Doctor Who clip? What have they done to the chickens? The button's pretty good. I watched that one recently, though. The doctor in the White House is kind of fun, just as a silly scene. This is, the doctor. Basic thing about Doctor Who. The doctor is the guy in the bow tie in the back. He is an alien Time Lord from the planet Gallifrey. This is his space and time machine called the TARDIS. It's disguised as a police box. This is what it looks like. It's bigger on the inside. He travels through time and space and goes on adventures. This is the time he used the TARDIS to materialize in Richard Nixon's Oval Office.
Hello? Who is this? This is President Nixon. Who's calling? Is this you again?
Mr. President?
A child. This is the President, yes.
I'm scared, Mr. President. I'm scared of the spaceman.
A little girl. Boy, how can you be sure? What spaceman? Where are you phoning from? Where are you right now? Who are you?
Jefferson Adams Hamilton.
Jefferson, listen to me. Surely this is something the Bureau could handle, sir.
These calls happen wherever I am. How do I know the Bureau isn't involved? I can't trust anyone.
Oh yeah, that's not a good Nixon impression, I would agree.
Oh. Hello. Bad moment. Oh, look, this is the Oval Office. I was looking for the, oblong room. I'll just be off then. Shall I?
This is the interior of the TARDIS. It's invisible right now.
Every time.
Don't worry. Always does that when he's cloaked. No, stop that.
He said the scanner wouldn't work.
I know. Bless.
Lock down! Lock down! Stop that. Ow! River, have you got my scanner working yet?
Oh, I hate him.
No, you don't.
Get the president out of here! Sir, you have to go with him now!
River, make her blue again!
What the hell is that?
Mr. President, that child just told you everything you need to know, but you weren't listening. Never mind, though, because the answer's yes. I'll take the case. Fellas, the guns, really? I just walked into the highest security office in the United States, parked a big blue box on the rug. You think you can just shoot me?
They're Americans!
Don't shoot, definitely no shooting.
Don't shoot us either. Very much not in need of getting shot. Look, we've got our hands up.
Who the hell are you, sir? You need to stay back.
But who are they? What is that box? It's a police box. Can't you read? I'm your new undercover agent on loan from Scotland Yard. Codename the Doctor. These are my top operatives: the Legs, the Nose, and Mrs. Robinson.
I hate you.
No, you don't.
Who are you?
Now, boring question. Who's phoning you? That's interesting, because Canton 3 is right. That was definitely a girl's voice.
It makes me so... I know, and to be clear, I know why you feel this way. It's completely fair. It's all subjective, but it makes me sad that you hate the 11th Doctor so much. He was my first Doctor. Aw. I love him.
Only one place in America she can be phoning from.
Where?
Do not engage with the intruder, Mr. Delaware.
You heard everything I heard. It's simple enough. Give me 5 minutes, I'll explain. On the other hand, lay a finger on me or my friends, and you'll never, ever know.
How'd you get it in?
My favorite Doctor at this point is probably Capaldi, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't carry it in.
Clever, eh?
Love it.
Do not
Second Doctor's my favorite classic Who Doctor.
compliment the intruder.
5 minutes. 5.
Mr. President, that man is a clear and present danger
Mr. President, that man walked in here with a big blue box and 3 of his friends. And that's the man he walked past. One of them's worth listening to. I say we give him 5 minutes. See if he delivers.
Thanks, Canton.
If he doesn't, I'll shoot him myself. Not so thanks.
Sir, I cannot recommend...
Least favorite Doctor. That's actually tough, because I see good things in all of them. I guess strictly the one that has the least stories I like is Jodie Whittaker, but unfortunately a lot of that's the writing. I think she'll probably do a lot better in audio later on. 6's run is mid, but he's... Like 6, for instance. 6's run is from what I've seen of it. But, like, he's been done really good justice in the audios and books that have come after his run. So, strictly based on the TV show, 6 or Jodie Whittaker are probably my least favorite. In terms of what I find least interesting overall, including the audios, probably 5th Doctor. Nothing against the 5th Doctor, he's just kind of boring. He's kind of like neutral. He's a palate cleanser. Like, he's not, I don't know. Like, I could describe you a lot of the other Doctors' personalities pretty strongly. 5th Doctor, I'd be like, he's pretty human. He cares for his companions, I guess. But, like, I don't know. What are his primary personality traits? He wears celery? That's not a personality trait. That's a quirk.
Man,
All right. 5 minutes.
Whoa, I love Eccleston. That's crazy.
I'm I'm going to need a SWAT team ready to mobilise, street-level maps covering all of Florida, a pot of coffee, 12 jammy Dodgers, and a fez.
Get him his maps.
This is pretty good, too.
You take him away.
Lost.
Long story short with this is the conclusion of a two-parter in which the Doctor has basically used a sci-fi device to make himself human and create an entire false identity that even he believes. He doesn't know he's the Doctor. He's basically an entirely different human person because this machine has created an entirely fake persona that he fully believes. Because these aliens were trying to find him to steal some of his power. So he hid himself, even from himself. And a lot of this episode was the character John Smith, the persona that is the fake person the Doctor became, deciding to basically have to end their own life. This is actually, for those who don't know, this episode is based off of a 7th Doctor novel. During the wilderness years where the show was off the air for like a decade and a half or so, there were novels and stuff, and there was a 7th Doctor novel that was basically this same story.
All the way
but with the 7th Doctor, and I want to say Ace was Ace in it.
through the retros.
Mike Mack says, personally, I would have been fine having the 13th Doctor reincarnated into the 9th instead of the 10th.
Stabilize it.
Yeah. I'm still hoping that for the 60th anniversary, while David Tennant is the big headline, hey, David Tennant's coming back as the Doctor for the 60th anniversary, I'm kind of hoping others are going to show up as well. Like, maybe it'll be the Doctor changing into different previous versions several times. I don't know. I just think it would be a little sad and not... I think it would be a little sad for the 60th anniversary of the show to basically be built around just David Tennant's Doctor. And I understand that David Tennant's Doctor popularized New Who. Like, it brought Doctor Who to a much wider audience than it had previously, especially in the United States. The same with Matt Smith, actually. That continued under the Matt Smith years, was, you know, it expanding much into, like, Tumblr fandom spaces, Super Who Lock, stuff like that. So, like, it's totally fair to celebrate, like, the David Tennant era of Doctor Who and recognize that, like, its continued success globally, a lot of it is built off the back of, like, David Tennant and Russell T Davies. But the show is 60 years old, and I think it's a little unfair to focus solely on that for the show's 60th anniversary.
Is feeding back into the primary heat converters. Oh, because if there's one thing you shouldn't have done.
Like, I would understand if it was just like let's say it was, in 2 years it's the 20th anniversary of New Who. So, like, if in 2 years Russell T Davies wanted to do an anniversary special for New Who and do something like that, I'd get that, because that's more a celebration of, like, the show since it came back in 2005, and David Tennant was a big part of that. But, like, this is the 60th anniversary of the show. The whole thing started in 1963. Alright, someone said a minute 15.
90 and the House Martins were playing, and it was quite simply the best gig I've ever been to. They split up quite soon afterwards. I don't know what that tells you about that particular event. I'm sitting in the TARDIS now, and I'm going to wind up soon, but not before I make a few strange noises with my mouth that will go somewhere along the lines of bingle bongle, dingle dangle, yickety doo, yickety da, ping pong, lippy tappy too-tar. And 23, if anything goes wrong, if they find us, Martha, then you know what to do.
And then Gregory Term says, this is my favorite moments in New Who. People watch that clip. It is very good. It's a great Doctor Who speech, but I do gotta get going. So, have a great night, everyone. Let's do a quick raid, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll be doing something tomorrow. Don't know what.
Oh,
like actually, someone said they had someone specific for a raid. If they're still here, tell me right now at Seaside FM. Okay. Seaside FM. Cool. Alright. Have a great night, everyone. See you guys later. Love you, Mr. Blast. I'm gonna go cool down, because I'm getting warm. See you guys later. Have an excellent night. Do 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 do.